Gordon Brown finds himself with a little local difficulty. Local to the north-east, that is. The lost discs from the government office in Tyne and Wear, the Northern Rock fiasco based in Newcastle, and now the Tyneside property developer who gave money to the Labour Party through other people with the result that it appeared not to be from him. This developer subsequently benefited from the passing of a controversial plan to build a business park. This is a coincidence, of course. Bernie Ecclestone paying Labour £1 million and motor racing being excused, the ban on advertising tobacco, was also a coincidence. Funny how such accidental occurrences often favour the political donor. Hell, if I had any money, I'd give it to Gordon too. It couldn't hurt. Got a tax bill due at the end of January. Perhaps you could do something about it, Gordo. Put my files onto a computer disk and accidentally pop them in the post. I can make it worth your while. Do you take cash? I'll leave it in a bag at Newcastle Station. But this is all fantasy, of course. Gordon Brown is as straight as they come. He's told us so himself. I think at all times I've tried to be straight with the British people, he said in June. That's a stiffer way of saying I'm a pretty straight kind of guy. And we all know what happened to him. Actually, we don't know what happened to him. Where has Tony gone? He was supposed to be settling the world's most rattled cage, the Middle East, but everyone there wants to kill him. So it's a good job for him that he says that God is on his side, but he doesn't want to emphasise his relationship with the big man in case we think he's a nutter. A man up to his eyeballs in the vicious machinations of politics, his whole life, personally selected by God for special treatment. Of course that's not nuts, Tony. When God spoke to you, what accent did he use? Wasn't Geordie, was it? Why, aye. Hey. Now, is this your last night, Helen Behind the Glass?
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night is your last night?
Yeah.
Right, you'll be drunk then, I expect.
Yeah. Drunk on cream cakes, yes.
Is that what it is? Cream cakes?
Yeah.
Will there be biscuits?
There might be biscuits.
Tea?
Tea. Exotic tea.
Exotic tea? Oh, it's exotique for your last day here. And no booze?
No boozing.
Right.
No.
Carol will be upset.
Who?
Carol. You remember Carol?
Booze.
That Carol.
Oh.
Oh, well, okay, so, tonight and tomorrow night, and then you're off. Arrivederci. See ya. Sayonara.
Ciao,
bye-bye.
Bella. Yeah, goodbye.
Okay, well, let's make these last two shows super fantastic then,
Okay.
yes? 0845 6060 973. I mentioned the tube announcer last night, you know, the tube announcer who says mind the gap, and she's been fired for saying things on her website that she shouldn't utter. Well, there's a full report in the Guardian today, and I'll be reading that at length later on, so as to give it a wider audience. Because there have been precious few people who read it in the Guardian. It's not known for its sense of humour. Also want to talk about pole dancing on GMTV. That is Good Morning Television.
I've missed a lot.
Pole dancing, yes.
Who was that?
I don't know the actual name of the lady in question.
Fiona?
Fiona? No, maybe not Fiona. Well, it wasn't Lorraine. Not the presenters weren't pole dancing.
Oh.
They had people, specialists, experts come on breakfast television on ITV with Lorraine, the blessed Lorraine.
And what about it? Did it all go wrong or something?
Well, no, it didn't go wrong. It went perfectly well, but do you actually want pole dancing on ITV's breakfast television?
Hello?
With Lorraine. Anyway, I'll talk about that. The weather, you don't mind?
Well, that's all right, isn't it?
Well, that's a matter for you.
The weather.
I'd like to talk about... Oh, you're writing this down? Okay.
Yeah.
You're diligent to the end.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk about a man in a giant testicle suit. French rock music. Write these down.
Sorry,
Don't look at me like that. Just write it down.
A man in Tesco's. What did you say?
A giant testicle suit.
Giant.
He'd get stopped at the door of any leading supermarket. So as not to put people off their, fruit and veg. Going soft on lags. The £50,000 taxi bill. School examiners, £4.2 million hotel bill. I can talk about what dreadful shout the Ministry of Defence is. I've got many stories. I can talk about that at length. The Tesco's fraudster. Actually, I gave somebody my credit card details on the phone today, and now, since I've read this, now every time I do it, because I was doing it with impunity before. Every time you'd buy something on the World Wide Web, you'd fill in your details, every detail that could possibly let anybody else spend all of your money, because you give them the expiry dates of your card, the actual number, and crucially the little number on the back, which is the whatever it's called. I don't know. The
security code.
Yeah, the little number on the back. Yeah, which you can't get unless you've actually got the card in your hands. So as soon as you've given that to somebody, you might as well have just posted your card. Well, not in the post, obviously, because you'd never see it again. But you could have handed it to them. And now they have everything. And apparently there's a chap at Tesco's who did just that. Customers shopping at Britain's biggest internet store. Is that right? Britain's biggest internet store. They are completely taking over. They've got the high street sewn up. They've, I think they have the biggest land bank, which is the biggest selection of land that hasn't got anything built on it of anybody in this country. I don't think even the big house developers have got such a giant sweep of Great Britain. It's green and unpleasant land.
My friend, I think she's got a Tesco card, she's got a Tesco, I think they've got a bank.
Do they?
They've got insurance, she's got car insurance, and she said she was going to get a tattoo across her forehead, so she said Tesco.
Just get the barcode.
Yeah, just get the barcode and have done.
Yeah, there's something about that, because there was another story about the death of the high street, and this country is going the way of America. It's traditionally what happens in America happens here 10 years later. This was before the internet, now it happens almost straight away. But the high street has died in America due, well, some of the protesters would say down to Walmart, which is the company that owns Asda in this country, who I think are the biggest... Are they not the biggest company in the world? It's something staggering like that. They just sell cheap goods. You know, you walk in one of these places in America and it's the size of Milton Keynes. They're staggeringly big. And because they come in and they undercut all local competition, everybody just goes to, because everybody's drawn by the nature of human greed, as we all are, to cheaper goods, and so they leave their high street shops behind, the ones that have served them well over you know, many decades, and then they go to the giant international global business that is Walmart, and then their town withers around them because nobody else can survive in competition. And Tesco's are kind of doing that here. But now they're not only the biggest in the high street, they're the biggest on the net as well. They may have had their... people who use the Tesco Direct may have had their bank details stolen by a fraudster, it was feared just the other day. The Information Commissioner and police have launched a major investigation following a security breach by a call centre worker at the company's online shopping arm. It's alleged that one of the employees who handled phone orders for Tesco Direct has used card details from a customer, spent thousands of pounds, and it's feared that other people may have fallen victim. Details of the fraud were discovered by a Tesco customer, Nikki, whose card details were used to spend £1,500 in September. She had phoned to buy a telly, was asked for her debit card and the three-digit security number on the back, and that's pretty much all you need if you were a criminal and you want to use somebody else's money. And I did that today, and I thought, there should be some other thing, don't you think? That some other level of security where you don't have to give everything to just some bod on the end of a phone line or whoever it is that mans the internet when you place your order. There should be some sort of thing that's held back. Like if you have a password with some credit card companies, they'll ask for the third and the fifth letter of whatever your password is rather than tell them the whole thing. Some just ask for the whole thing. And how do you know that, that these people are going to treat your information in the same manner at which you'd treat theirs?
Do you think it happens often, or?
Well, I'm sure it's a £1 billion industry. That's where all the money is now. It's not in extortion and prostitution and drugs anymore. Well, I'm sure there is a little bit of money to be made in that. How is the war on drugs going, by the way?
Fabulous.
That's what I thought. Yeah. But no, it's all about computer fraud and nicking people's plastic. It's not the Sopranos anymore. It's specky nerds with pens in their top pockets who's moving millions of pounds of our money from one place to the next.
Did you read about that guy who, I don't know if you talked about it yesterday, who...
What, you weren't listening?
No, I wasn't.
Can you believe that, Alex?
Shocking.
He's just been caught. He was a fraudster. And a computer geek, and I think he stole some kind of gem or something, and they didn't, I think it was a museum or something, and they didn't notice that it was missing for about a month.
So, these are the exact details of the story as they have just been explained to us. It was a gem or something from a museum or somewhere. We got no idea what or who or where or how. But at least we know which.
Did you read about him? Obviously not.
It's not ringing a bell, no. Let me think about that for a moment. It's 7:16.
That's absolutely.
You ever bought groceries online?
Yeah.
Sometimes I don't know why I bother. Because I haven't, and I haven't for the very specific reason that has just been highlighted by, I think it's Which. The Which did a survey of online grocery shopping. Now, when I'm buying my produce, as they say in America, I'm one of these people that has, that I'm up to my shoulder in the chilled cabinets, reaching around the back for the product that they've put that is got the longest sell-by date on it. Because they try to get all the stuff at the front that is about to go out, and then they put all the good stuff behind, so they don't have to continually stock the shelves all the time. And then when the old stuff goes, then the new stuff becomes apparent at the back of the shelf. Well, I don't wait to that point. I just reach around the old stuff and get the and when I do it, I feel a bit cheap doing it because the shop would prefer you to buy the old stuff first. If you're going to use it today, why not? But that's not the sort of person I am. And I had expected that if you buy groceries online, they would make a point of giving you the older stuff first because naturally they want to get rid of it. And that's exactly what Which found. Supermarket food bought online may be less fresh than produce picked off the shelf. The consumer group Which researched all the leading supermarket chains and found that food bought in-store had, on average, a longer shelf life than food bought online. In one instance, a loaf of bread had a sell-by date 8 days later than the same bread bought through the store's online service. And the first thing that occurs to me is, how can bread last 8 days? What kind of Frankenstein food would make, what kind of alien ingredient would make bread last 8 days? Bread doesn't last 8 days. In France, it doesn't last 8 hours. You buy it in the morning and it's stale by lunchtime. Doesn't that give you cause for concern? That they're extending the shelf life of stuff beyond what nature has decided. Utter, echoing silence. No. So open the mic, still nothing. God.
Would agree with that silence. Can
I please have people who actually want to join in? Struth. The researchers visited to Tesco, Sainsbury's, Asda and Waitrose stores and bought 10 common items. They chose the freshest, non-organic produce, such as a pint of milk, chicken breasts and a bag of salad. The researchers also booked online deliveries of the same items from the same supermarkets and from online grocer Ocado, which delivers the Waitrose stuff. Snapshot research last month found that, on average, the store's best before dates for the online products were more than a day earlier than on items bought off the shelf. No surprise there, though, right? Shall I start again?
Well, would they just not... If you were one of these people that packs the stuff for online customers, you're not going to be deliberately going to the back of the shelf, are you?
Exactly.
To pick stuff.
Because you just couldn't care less, right?
Yeah, exactly. You're going around, you've got a certain amount of deliveries to make. Yeah, you're going to zoom through, grab it off the shelf, and jump in your van.
Online shopping represents only about £2 in every 100 spent on food, but it's expected to grow rapidly to 30%, they say, in about 5 years. I find that hard to believe. Am I not doing this right? Kent. Hello, Peter.
Hello. The frustrating part about going shopping with somebody else when you're a fisher at the back to get the good sell-by dates is, don't take the front one, no, fish at the back. But they can't help themselves.
Who they?
They do.
Who they?
The striking back or fighting back against the card skimmers. These people who get hold of your card and take the stuff off the back, off the magnetic stripe. It happened to me twice in the summer, so I decided, when I got my new card back, to just scrape a little bit of the magnetic stripe off. You only need it if you go abroad. So one of them I thought, well, I'll give it an experiment. and then I scratched the whole magnetic stripe off the back. The card works perfectly well in all chip and pin machines, and it can't be skimmed.
I'm not sure what you mean.
Your credit card's got a little chip on the front that you put in the reader.
Right.
On the back, it's got a magnetic stripe. It's got the exact same information that's only good if you go abroad, where they don't have these chip and pin machines.
Uh-huh.
So when they skim the card, when they steal the information from the card, they use the magnetic stripe. They can't steal it from the chip. They only steal it from the magnetic stripe.
I did not know that. And it works perfectly well if you take the black stripe off the back or not.
If you take the black stripe off the back, it cannot be skimmed. It can't be put through one of those reader machines.
Where they swipe it.
Exactly. It can't be swiped.
Right.
But nobody swipes them in this country anymore, but they do abroad.
Are you never going abroad?
Well, I'm not going to say that card. I've got other cards. So,
Right.
it was just an experiment. I was skimmed twice in the summer on 2 different cards.
How does that happen?
They said to me at the petrol, one of the guys at the credit card company said, when you buy the petrol, give the guy the card, he puts it into the chip reader, and then says, oh, which pump are you on? And you immediately look out the window.
Turn around,
picks your card, swipes it through his machine, puts it back, and you go, oh, pump 8.
Huh.
And it's done and dusted. Somebody looks over your number and over your shoulder and gets your PIN.
And did you get your money back?
Oh, yes, I did. Yeah, they were drawing cash out in Australia just a few days later.
Huh.
I didn't realise until they kind of blocked my card. But it was great. I scratched off the magnetic stripe, and I have had no problem at all. And I won't get skimmed again on that card anyway.
Right. Well, it could be a coincidence, of course. I mean, and they don't need your card if they've got all the details on it. All they need is
of course, now the card's
everything that's
changed.
printed on it.
The number's been changed and so on and so forth.
Right. Okay, well, thanks for the good news, Peter.
Yeah, give it a go.
All right, cheers. I don't know, defacing your cards, is that, because you can't deface notes. Can you deface notes in this country, or is that an American thing?
It's illegal, though,
Right,
isn't it?
okay. What's this question here from Charlotte?
It's that TV programme. Oh, it's not directed at you.
Oh.
At you. Oh.
The question is, who do you think you are?
Yeah.
I thought I was about to come under attack.
No.
But no. Okay, Banstead. Hello, Charlotte.
Hello, Nick.
Charlotte.
How are you?
I am great, mate.
Good. Looking forward to Christmas, are you?
Yes, I am.
Oh, I'm not, actually.
Why not?
I don't know.
It's just one of those
In the
things.
mood.
Well, you've got a while yet, like a month.
Yeah. Do you remember the programme on the telly? Who do you think you are when you trace your ancestors back? You know, your family tree.
I didn't watch it because I wasn't very interested in any of the people, but yes, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I've got my ancestors, my family came from Germany quite a while back. And I've got quite a famous name, composer's name, beginning with W.
Yeah.
If you can guess it. Can I say it?
Why not?
Wagner.
Wagner.
Yeah. And apparently they came over and one of them settled in Yorkshire and got a knighthood. But I want to trace it back into Germany to see if I am related to them.
Yeah.
But does anyone know how to do that? I mean, I probably know how to do it in England. Because people have said to me, why don't you trace your back? Because it's quite an interesting name.
Right, so your old family name is Wagner, and your family comes from Germany.
Well, my ancestors, yes.
And you want to know whether you're related to Hitler's favourite composer?
Yes. Yeah.
Well, I don't have any idea is the clear answer to that.
No, people
perhaps
have
someone
said to me
will.
all my life, you know, it's such an interesting name.
Yeah.
I know it's school and things, and I've never thought about doing it.
Are you musical?
Yeah, I like opera.
Do you?
Yes.
What
You don't know.
I can't see anything enjoyable about it. A lot of fat people wobbling about, screaming at each other in a language that you can't understand. Even if they're singing in your own language, you can't understand what they're saying.
No.
I just don't see the attraction at all. Ridiculous overacting and preposterous stories and ludicrous lyrics, and it's just entirely silly. I think the reason that people go is it's so expensive. It's like caviar. You know, people don't actually like it. They just gravitate towards it because it's so very expensive.
And I've been trying, thinking for years to do it. And I thought, well, why don't I do it? Just do it and done with it.
Well, yeah.
Like you keep putting things off.
Well, maybe you're due some money.
Yeah, I wonder if anyone knows how you can go about that, your listeners at all.
Well,
it's Germany, you see. I can go back to here.
Well, we'll find out, eh?
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, Nick.
Thanks, Charlotte.
Thank you.
Cheers, my dear. Ta-da.
Bye.
Opera. I can just about get ballet. Although, when you go to see the ballet, on the very few occasions that I have actually done that, what the most surprising thing I found is what a giant racket they make. You think, when you see it on TV, they're leaping about nimbly and silently, but they're not. They're careening and crashing about like elephants. What a noise!
Yeah, I remember that about the ballet. Swan Lake, and just hearing...
Yeah.
But like hundreds of these little feet going.
Yeah, it's like DIY enthusiasts are taking the building apart with hammers. Yeah. But no, opera is that's one louder, and there I will not go. You can't make me. I don't want to.
This is LBC 97.3.
Give someone a whole new world of
So, what's your television feast in the morning when you're hacking and coughing and pushing down your porridge? Because I do flip between BBC breakfast news, which occasionally gets very irritating. We just can't stop giggling at each other at how funny everything all is. And then flip to Sky News, which is always in the ads, and so then I start going up the dial to to Al Jazeera or Euronews. Euronews is actually very good, Alex. You turned me on to that because it doesn't have any presenters. Fantastic. But then it is forced to concentrate only on news that it has pictures for. That's the downside. Al Jazeera is all right. You're not unpatriotic if you watch Al Jazeera. But GMTV, I hadn't even thought of doing that. But pole dancing for breakfast, it says. It was enough to have viewers choking on their cereal. This is in the Daily Mail, very upset about it, as usual. And turning onto GMTV yesterday, they were told to expect a display of the High Street's snazziest tights ahead of the Christmas party season. Snazzy tights? Aren't tights just tights? Don't they come in a couple of colours and that's it?
In denier.
What's
I
that?
don't know what that is, a size, I think.
They have
Denier.
patterns and things.
I can't say it.
Denier, isn't that just the material?
Oh, is that the material?
Although I don't know. How do I know more than you do?
Isn't that the
Well, I
thickness?
don't know.
Yeah, perhaps it's the thickness, yeah.
There's nice patterns.
Never
you get
mind
on
the
tights.
quality, feel the width. What?
There's nice patterns you get on tights. For
Oh, really?
ladies.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Instead they were told to expect a display of the High Street's snazziest tights ahead of the Christmas party season. Instead, says the Mail, they had to endure a display of pole dancing before 9 in the morning. Erotic dancers appeared once Lorraine Kelly announced a 3-minute fashion feature on how to glam up with this season's tights at 8:50 a.m. But when 3 models in corsets and black short skirts arrived on set with a portable pole, even the presenter seemed a little taken back. As the dancers began their suggestive routine, lifting both legs off the ground to show off the hosiery. Is that a euphemism? Miss Kelly said, These are good, aren't they?" Watching from the sofa with a fashion editor, Erica Davis, Miss Kelly gasped, "Oh, I wish I could move like that. I'd be in hospital if I tried." I always thought that Lorraine Kelly was just the nicest, sweetest, like, sort of... She's more rounded than Delia Smith, who has a bit of steel to her, Delia, the blessed Delia. But she's very mumsy, isn't she? Like, mum-like.
I think so, yeah.
Lorraine Kelly, on the other hand, has all the corners sanded off her. She's about the most round and soft, fluffy thing. If she was made of Angora, she couldn't be more round and soft and fluffy. And gathering herself together at the end of the feature, she added hastily, "This is not naughty pole dancing, this is pole dancing for exercise. We do not concentrate on the tights, we were too busy looking at your great moves," she said. Family campaigners, however, were not amused. It's not the first time GMTV has raised eyebrows. Last week, Miss Kelly's cleavage was criticised by royal corsetiere June Kenton. Showing too much of it, apparently. Wearing the wrong bra. Squeezing out all over. GMTV, eh, Alex?
Mm. Be off your radar,
Right,
normally.
yeah, write it down in your diary.
Yeah.
Right, who are these people? So I just
Yeah, try.
find out. A mobile, hello?
Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes, my name is Blaze.
Blaze?
Yep,
Blaze.
yes.
Okay.
I have an idea how to keep the credit card security higher.
Right.
Well, how about just giving the 16-digit front number when you buy something, and then you confirm your purchase with a code or something from the seller. And next time you slot in your card into a cash machine, which we do every day, you just ask to confirm your purchase. And all you do is just have your goods maybe 6 hours later or a day later, but it'll be much safer. And that's where you can use your PIN number.
Right. That sort of defeats the fun of buying things online, because when you buy things online, it's as though you haven't spent any money. It's as though it's all magic, because you, without actually handing over any money, you make your order and then somebody comes and delivers it to your house.
That's true, but it still can be done. But we all do those purchases after we come home from work overnight, and nothing happens that night anyway.
Yes.
Next day you go to a petrol station or buy your coffee or breakfast or whatever, and you slot in your machine, card. As soon as you put your PIN number, you'll be asked to confirm your purchase, which you will be probably remembering from the night before.
Right. Okay, interesting. Thanks a lot, Blaze. He must be like a wrestler with a Worldwide Wrestling Federation. Blaze. I think it's got to be easier than that. Just have a password. I mean, I got several passwords. Just ask them for character 1 and 5 or whatever it might be from your password, and unless it matches, and then it keeps it secret, right? Makes perfect sense to me.
There are some sites that are starting to do that now.
Oh, yeah.
Like, a couple of things I've shopped at recently, and it's asked, in conjunction with my bank, it's asked me to create a password.
Right.
To actually complete the purchase.
Yeah.
So, I guess there's a wee bit more security.
And you heard it here first.
Yeah.
Eltham. Hello, Phil.
Hi, Nick.
Phil.
Hello. Good to see you again. Spoke to you about a year ago, probably.
Oh, yes. I remember it well.
Anyway, Red Ken.
Oh, yeah.
I find him to be...
Charming?
a bit of waste of space, maybe.
Right.
Who panders to certain groups, ethnic groups,
Yeah.
for votes. Hence the India thing. And that's it. That's all he does. He has no real powers. He's he was kicked out of Labour Party, if I'm...
Well, he has powers to make our lives miserable. Well, he does. He's got the powers to control transport, for a start, which we all, or almost all of us, use on a daily basis, whether it be by car or tube or bus or whatever. So he does have quite a lot of power over our everyday lives.
But true power, as in like Downing Street, as in national, the national power.
Well, you know what? I mean, the decisions that the Prime Minister makes may be important on a national level, but few of them actually impact your life personally in the same way as the congestion charge does, or putting bendy buses on the road and taking the route master off. And we do all concentrate on politics a lot, but most of it really doesn't affect the running of our lives at all.
Yeah, and whereas his is quite sort of
hands-on. Yeah.
Yeah. As per congestion charging and...
But if he went to India just to pick up votes from the Indian community, then that seems like a long way and a great effort and a large amount of money to pick up few votes in the great scheme of things. Wouldn't he be better off concentrating on, the majority rather than minorities, if that is actually what he's doing it for?
Oh, God, mate.
It would seem to be a waste of his efforts. It's surely the mantra with the politics, concentrate on the majority, because that's where all the votes are.
Yeah, but that's ignored, isn't it, these days? It's all pandering to sort of certain groups, and sorry, without wishing to sound offensive or whatever, but it's all about trying to look good on the headlines and
Well, the Indian trip was supposedly in order to drum up business from India to this country, whereas all the traffic seems to be going in the other direction because India has cheaper labour than we do. So I think if jobs are going to move from one country to the other, then it's going to be from this country to that country. But that was the stated aim, wasn't it? That he's trying to get Indian companies to come over here.
Is that what they called onshore offshoring, whereby foreign workers come here rather than work from abroad? I'm not sure, Nick, but
onshore offshoring. That sounds like financial finagling. These rich people in the city hire giant accountancy firms in order not to pay tax.
Possibly, yeah. I'm not really too sure, but I've just heard the phrase.
Right.
Yeah, but I don't know. Sorry, Nick, I'm just sort of waffling. But
it fits right in. Have you been to Eltham Palace lately?
Oh yeah, I went there about 6 months ago.
It's pretty nice, eh?
Lovely.
Did you have to take your shoes off?
No. Went into that palace.
The big round room when you first go in. Don't you have to take your shoes off and put plastic things over your shoes, something like that, in order to protect the carpet?
Not really. There's a massive sort of rug, circular rug.
That's right.
And there's this bit where the ferret used to go up a tube, whatever sort of animal it is. It's not a ferret necessarily, but like a skunk they used to keep.
A ferret go up a tube?
Yeah. The people who owned Eltham Palace used to keep a
ferret.
What was the animal? Not a ferret. What was the? Sorry.
Cat.
A what?
Pet dog, was it?
A type of monkey, apparently.
Oh, right.
But it's sort of very Art Deco.
Yes.
With that funny circular roof, and but the actual palace itself is magnificent.
Well, I think magnificent is stretching it a bit. It's very nice, and there's a couple of really nice rooms, and it's a pleasant day out. Eltham Palace, I thoroughly recommend it. But I'm surprised you didn't get. They didn't ask you to put plastic over your shoes. Those plastic bunny things that you put over your shoes when you go wandering around swimming pools and so on.
No.
Well, then standards have lapsed.
Because the floor is marble or whatever it is. It doesn't require said coverage.
Oh, you didn't get to walk on the carpet?
No.
Oh, right. Well, that'll be it then.
Strictly verboten, as you might say.
Yes. Oh, well, maybe I was accorded special treatment.
But I believe they were this far back to avoid. That's still rubbish now, but wasn't it to avoid the plague or something like that?
What was?
Where the reason they live so far away from London, to avoid pestilence, etc., and to be able to overlook the city.
Yeah, it's exactly the same reason that I live far out too. Yeah. All right, thanks, Phil.
Cheers, Nick.
Eltham Palace, yes, I thoroughly recommend it. It's very nice. 7:45. Travel now with Alan Joyce.
Well, still those big delays continue.
Nick Abbott.
Do you mind if I say a few words? Thank you.
M4. Hello, Will.
Oh, hi, Nick.
Will.
That internet security thing, it's already coming in, and it's been forced on us by the bank. So this time next year, I'll have another password to forget.
Great. All right, so they've...
Well, there's two schemes. Well, one's called Verified by Visa, and the other one's called MasterCard Secure Code. And then if you talk to your credit card, you can set yourself up a password, and it's already on loads of websites already.
Right. Now, okay. Just to preempt any mistakes that they might make, and then they'll have to think about it and do it again. Don't ask us what our whole password is. Just ask us what the first letter and the last letter, or whatever it might be, and then
like that,
and then it'll be remain secure. Okay, thanks, Will.
No worries.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Kenley. Tony.
All right.
Hey, Tony.
Good. As we know, Uber Shearer Livingston's main aim in life is to make us miserable and stop CO2 emissions and have jolly ups in Venezuela and India. But there's a proposal that the speed limit in London goes out to 20 miles an hour, and I think
not everywhere, surely.
Well, they're just about to do it, according to LBC earlier today in Islington. So what I want to, this is a question I want you to put out. I was just wondering if we're going, it'll take 50% longer to do a journey of, say, well, any distance.
Well, it depends when you're driving. I mean, if you managed 20 miles an hour most of the time of the day, that would be an increase of 50%, wouldn't it?
Probably. But the question is, if we could drive at 30 and now it's 20, we would spend 50% more time on the roads.
Belching CO2.
Yeah, does that make the CO2 emissions 50% more?
Yeah, undoubtedly. But I don't think there's any chance of ever doing 20 miles an hour.
Well, they're going to do it in Islington and put calling to Nick Ferrari earlier on.
Right. No, but what I mean is there's no chance of actually achieving 20 miles an hour.
No, of course they're not. No,
crawling from one red light to the next.
Well, unless they want to adjust all the speed cameras and put even more bumps in.
But you know what? I don't actually mind 20 miles an hour, and traffic calming measures are different in other countries. Like in Holland, for instance, where they do things like this much more, well, everything, it seems, much more sensibly than we do. They make no distinction between the pavement and the road. Now, while that might sound crazy, you see, here, that might be an insane move, but there, it just makes everybody drive more carefully because there is no distinction, and so that, really, you're driving on a giant pavement, so everybody drives much more slowly and takes, more considerate action about, pedestrians who have, even in this country, they have the right of way. That's a trick question from your, highway code. Who always has right of way? And the answer is pedestrians.
That's right.
We forget that, especially when you're in a car.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any objections. Well, it won't happen today, but I've no objections to 20 miles an hour, but they can't have the best of both worlds, can they?
How do you mean?
Well, they can't have the lesser speed and not have more CO2 emissions,
right.
I think. But,
well, I do get the feeling that this whole thing about CO2 is...
a load of rubbish.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that the scientists are onto something and that we are all doomed, but I really don't believe that any political party, not just the current incumbents, that any political party has got the nerve and the will to actually force a change on us, because anything they do in that regard will be so desperately unpopular. Because, while we all want to save the planet and repair the hole in the sky, we don't want to give up our car, we don't want to give up our central heating or our air conditioning or our giant flat-screen TV or our fridge or any of these things that we've become used to.
Yeah, but as far as I understand, unless China and America agree to anything, nothing's going to happen anyway.
Well, unless China and India wouldn't mind,
India, that's right, yeah,
mind very kindly not having an industrial revolution, we're screwed whatever we do. All right, thanks, Tony.
All right, cheers.
Ta-da. Yeah, no, I do feel that that's all a bit of a smokescreen. I mean, they have a climate conference on at the moment, and the weather has gone crazy. We had the wettest summer ever, and now we're going to have the driest autumn ever in the same year. Britain's on course for one of the driest autumns on record, the Met Office said yesterday. Although Britain has suffered heavy downpours in the last few days, rainfall in the first 2 weeks in November was up 12% of the monthly average, and blah, blah, blah. The summer was the wettest on record in England and Wales, and the autumn is likely to be the driest since 1766.
And what about the winter? Any predictions?
The remainder of the month is, as far as they can say, the charts show the pressure looking pretty high in the south of the country. At least will miss out on most of the rainfall, which is good, because when it rains, it leaks in my flat.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I have a bucket under the roof. That's true.
Terrible.
Well, that's my fault for living in a hovel.
Doesn't it leak in your car as well?
Yes. Well, it used to, and I had those windows sealed, and then I thought, finally, I'm sealed against the outside world. And then I came back the other day, and there was another puddle in this new, mysterious place. I've got no idea where the rain came in there.
So where's the hole in the house?
The hole in the house is in the ceiling. It's mystified everyone. No one knows where it's coming from. So I think they're going to have to take the entire building apart.
Just to find it?
Yeah.
Hmm.
I know.
Do you have a tin bucket underneath it?
Plastic.
Oh, okay.
Because a tin one would make such a racket with the drip, drip, drip. I mean, a plastic one's bad enough.
You get a dull thud, don't you, with plastic?
You do.
Very tinny.
With tin?
With the bucket.
That's why they call it tin.
Tin bucket.
How frequent is the drip?
It goes like that.
Fairly frequent, then.
Yeah.
See, that would just stress me out.
Oh, yeah. Well, you have to close off the room.
Seal it.
Mm-hmm. Well, you look very upset about this. It'll be all right, don't worry.
Well, just get it fixed.
Well, I can't get it... Well, oh, blimey.
I know, I heard what you said, but just fix it.
Right,
It's got a man up there.
It's nothing to do with me. They'll have to fix it. Other people.
We'll get them to do it.
Right, okay then. The government, in fact, the governments of all of the world are rolling into a...
So Nick, your life, just to interrupt you, when it rains you've got that dripping, torturous sound.
Yes.
And when it's not dripping, you've got the dog outside yapping at his feet.
Yes.
Oh.
My furry alarm clock. 6:30 in the morning.
I'm amazed you're here.
In fact, I wake up. In fact, my internal body clock now wakes me just before the dog arrives. And I have to put earplugs in just to sleep through it, because there's a procession, in fact, of little yappy dogs. And it's like I said before, it's a terrible way to wake up, but every morning I wake up with murderous thoughts about small, fluffy, yapping dogs.
And on a rainy day, I wouldn't like to be lying next to you.
It's 7:55.
London's biggest.
Words, more words.
So this climate control big meeting is fascinating. Have you read about this? It was in the Sunday Times just last weekend. It's been billed as the summit that could help save the planet. But the latest United Nations Climate Change Conference has itself become a major contributor to global warming, just as you'd expect. None of these people are actually serious. The calculations suggest that flying 15,000 politicians, civil servants, green campaigners and TV crews into Indonesia will generate the equivalent of 100,000 tonnes of extra CO2. This is similar to the entire annual emissions of the African state of Chad. When it was first conceived, only a few thousand politicians and civil servants and environmentalists were expected to attend the conference, about normal for such an event. So they expected a few thousand. They actually got 15,000. Do you know why? It's because it's on the idyllic paradise island of Bali. And everybody rubbed their hands together and thought, yes, let's get in there. Climate change's growing political importance has led to a surge in interest, and the conference, which is being held in the luxury holiday resort of Nusa Dua on Bali's palm-fringed southern coast, is expecting attendees to include Leonardo DiCaprio and Arnold Schwarzenegger. Many are merely observers who have no formal role to play in the talks, which largely involves government ministers and officials. Among these observers are 20 MEPs and 18 assistants, whose itinerary includes a day trip to the idyllic fishing and surfing village of Serangang. Indonesian officials say that the final tally could reach 20,000 people and fear it could stretch the resort's infrastructure to the limit. So in order to save the planet, they're actually destroying a little and lovely part of it. 90% of the emissions will be generated by delegates flying thousands of miles to Bali, with the rest coming from the facilities that they're going to be using. The author of How to Live a Low-Carbon Life says, one wonders how many people would have gone if the conference had been held in a wet October in Pittsburgh. 3 ministers in the British delegation are staying at a £330 a night suite, each, at the West End Resort Nusa Dua Hotel, each with their own bedroom, living room and dining room. Such apparent luxury is justified, say aides, by their need for somewhere to hold private meetings. Oh, come on. One of the biggest delegations is being assembled by the European Union, is expected to send Stavros Dimas, the Environment Commissioner, and 90 officials. In additional 27 EU countries are expected to send separate national delegations. Germany has one of the biggest with about 70. So the European Parliament is sending a load, but that's not enough. We have to get some of ours there. I thought that one would be sufficient, but apparently not. Not when it's the idyllic holiday island of Bali. And you should see some of the pictures of where they're going to be staying. Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, there's more details, but I haven't got time because there's only 4 seconds to the news. But anyway, in short, they're not serious.
Everything is going extremely well.
So after yesterday, when I thought I was going to get at least my car kicked in by some nutcase who would take exception to me parked and with the inside light of my car on, because I didn't want to give the money to Ken Livingstone's congestion charge racket. So I paused just outside of the zone and then come in at 6 o'clock. And somebody took exception to me sitting there in my car, minding my own affairs, and I was just sitting there writing with the internal light on, and he walked by, and then he came back, and he clenched his fists, and he moved towards the car, and he said something to me, I don't know what it was, I was speeding away at the time. Well, I decided to park in a different place today, and I chose, I don't know, it must be one of the, it's a weird street, just behind Holland Park Approach, whatever that, Holland Park Road, I think it is, the one that comes up to Shepherd's Bush Green. There's a street, if you turn left, and on the one side it's got a council block, and on the other side, very, very expensive-looking houses, which are nudged uncomfortably up against it. And there was scene after scene in the street there, as I was sitting there trying to do crossword, as it happens. I thought that somebody was actually going to get killed before my eyes. 2 kids were running around, and some crazy person on a bike was chasing them and leaving his bike in the middle of the road as he was chasing them around cars, and I thought, good grief, is trouble following me? Is it actually my fault? So it was a very tense time, as I thought, shall I move? If you move and lose a space, then you might be on the one-way system, and you'd never be able to stop again. And I want to avoid, at all costs, giving any money to the congestion charge game. So I stood there and I watched it all unfold around me. Fortunately, nobody died. Not on my watch, anyway. The number 0845 6060 973. And I know there was precious little in the papers today, like really nothing at all. Like I read them all and came up completely blank. It's just the same stories as it was at the beginning of the week. The Lost Discs, still going on about that. Northern Rock, still going on about that. Richard Tidybeard is coming in as a knight in shining armour, or is he? Some people in the city are suggesting that he's going to pick it up at a fantastically low cost, and appear to be doing everybody a favour, but really doing himself a favour. But you know, that's the nature of billionaires. They don't get to become super rich by being nice people. And he's not doing it because he wants to do us all a favour. And so there was that, and then apart from that, no papers seem to come up with any stories about anything at all. So whatever you like, 0845 6060 973. I have the story about how long it takes for women to get ready. I'm not sure whether this is politically correct or not. In fact, I'm fairly sure it isn't. It's a figure which will surprise even the most impatient husband. Women spend nearly 3 years getting ready to leave the house. That's because the average time... This is the Mail, who... It's a paper that seems to be written with women in mind, yet doesn't seem to like women very much. It's a dichotomy. It's an odd one. That's because, it says in the Daily Mail, the average time needed for those last-minute outfit changes, twirls in front of the mirror and rummages in the handbag is 1 hour and 12 minutes every time they leave the house. How long does it take you to get ready, Alex? 10 seconds.
My friends actually said I'm like a girl.
Really?
Or I used to be, yeah. I take forever to get out of the house. Like an hour to get ready.
Did you take an hour to get ready tonight?
I know what you're going to say. It doesn't look like it.
I come out with just whatever I happen to be wearing. It looks like it, right?
Yeah.
It's a dinner down my front.
Since you got the same thing on.
Day after day after
days,
day, yeah. Well, it's... And I'm sort of aware that people might think that I do wear the same clothes day after... But I do have several things that look exactly the same. Like, I've got a lot of blue sweatshirts, and that's what I always tend to shuffle about the house in my sort of adult romper suit.
Do you buy, when you find one item of clothing that you really like, do you go and buy lots 5 of them before they discontinue them?
No. Oh. But I do tend to mistakenly go and buy the same thing that I've already got.
You thought, ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that would be great. And then I come home and I think, oh, yes, I've already got that. I do that with music as well, and films. I buy, the amount of times I've bought a CD that I already own, and rent a film that I have seen. And recently I'll have seen it too. And I only remember that I've seen it right at the end. I'm like, oh, yeah, he dies. Anyway, women getting ready. And with a typical woman needing 40 minutes to get ready for work every morning, as well as the amount of time spent preening, it adds up to more than 2 years and 9 months over a lifetime. The bad news for men doesn't stop there. They will spend a mind-numbing 3 months of their lives waiting for their wives and girlfriends to choose a handbag, or to try on that last pair of shoes just one more time. By the time we shower and do our hair and makeup, it can take a while. Many women, and men, for that matter, have a strict regime they must stick to, says Charlotte Newbert, the founder of a beauty brand who commissioned the study, who would dearly love me to mention their name on the radio, which is presumably why they commissioned the study in the first place. Before a big night out, women typically spend 22 minutes showering and shaving their legs, 7 minutes moisturising and applying a fake tan, 23 minutes drying and styling their hair, 14 minutes doing their makeup, and 6 minutes getting dressed. 6? The poll revealed men are left hanging around for an average of 17 minutes and 25 seconds each time they go out with their partner. It's a similar story when they're coached to the shops, where they will have to sit outside changing rooms for an average of 1 hour and 2 minutes each time. Who sits outside a changing room for an hour and 2 minutes? No one does that, surely.
I've done that, I think.
Unsurprisingly, nearly 2/3 of men say they get fed up with constant waiting, and 1 in 10 has even ended a relationship because of it. Okay. Lovely cup of tea, Helen. How long did it take you to make that?
About 5 minutes.
How long did it take you to get ready to come out?
Pardon? Oh, no, not long. Look at me. Is it?
Yes.
Get up, comb my hair, I'm out that door.
Yeah, me too. Apart from the combing your hair part, I don't even own a comb. I can't remember the last time I put a comb through my hair. Isn't that awful? Do people comb their hair still?
Yeah, I do. I've got this horrible comb.
Well, you got long hair though.
Which I put through my horrible hair.
Oh.
Well,
you want to get it seen to?
Get it seen to?
Yeah.
I'm trying to get it seen to.
By a stylist?
Yeah, at some point. But it costs money, and I can't be bothered at the moment.
Right. I think after a certain age, you just can't be bothered to keep up your appearances anymore.
Not at all.
I think it's after the age at which you realise you're never going to get sex again.
Thanks.
That's nothing to do with you. That's just the general human condition. I mean, people that continue to preen themselves obviously think they're in with a chance. I mean, there's no other reason to do it, right? I mean, who's going to see you? I mean, I don't make an effort because I never go out. I'm always here. I go from home to here to home, and no one sees me in the meantime. And you know, as a plucky youth spending time out there doing it, then yeah, no end of endless hours wondering, oh blimey, I've got nothing to wear, or you know, such frippery. But now, whatever I'm wearing, I'll just go out in it, and not even a glance at a mirror to see how I look, because who cares?
If you go into a function, do you dress up?
A function?
Well...
What's that?
Well, like your mum's ruby wedding anniversary, or say you...
Like a funeral?
Or a funeral, or a friend has won an award, or...
What about like that posh show bar you went and you paid £20 for a cocktail or something? Did you dress up for that?
That's an insane suggestion that I would pay £20 for a cocktail. £20 for two? Well, it's 25 for two.
Okay.
That's ridiculous, isn't it? I can't believe that I did that, but I did. But no, not dressed up exactly. I went as I was, from playing rock and roll music all afternoon. Because people don't care these days in places like that, especially on a Sunday when there's no one there and they're desperate for your money. But no, actually dress up. I think the last time I actually dressed up was a funeral.
Did you see that
ties and, you know, the whole bit.
Yeah, did you see the picture of Johnny Depp today in the papers?
No, I did not.
Oh, he looked gorgeous. He was very well
Here
dressed.
we go.
He looked fantastic.
I've actually got over my dislike of Johnny Depp. The Pirates, the second Pirates film came around on the Sky a little while ago, and it's actually very funny. Up to that point, I couldn't bear to watch anything that had Johnny Depp in it, but now I'm thinking about revisiting his old films.
He's the only Hollywood star to watch, surely.
It was a bit... it was a bit like somebody just imitating Keith Richards.
Oh.
But, yeah, I enjoyed it, and so I don't...
Would you recommend it?
I don't despise him anymore.
Right.
I might even go and see the Willy Wonka thing.
Oh no, that's pushing it.
That's a step too far.
Yeah, you can't beat the original.
No, I suppose not. Right, well, what was he dressed up for?
I don't know, he was out shopping today in London, and he had this lovely hat on, and he just looked gorgeous.
A hat?
Yeah, really nice kind of, I don't know what it's called, tall sort of hat. Not a Victorian top hat, but...
Men in hats look bizarre these days. You see a picture of around the Second World War back, or even past the, like, sort of 50s and previous, every single man in a picture of a crowd will be wearing a hat of some sort. I mean, if it's a footballing scene, they'll be all wearing flat hats, or if it's the city, they'll be wearing hats of various height.
Yeah.
But these days, if you wear a hat in public that's not a baseball cap, which bizarrely, despite the fact that we're not remotely interested in the game, seems to be the only cap or hat wear that is allowed without making a statement of some sort, then you kind of, well, you look like you're trying too hard. Like you've made, I mean, Johnny Depp, okay, he's a movie star, he can wear whatever he likes because he's, you know, crazy. But ordinary men wearing a hat, there's just something a bit weird about it.
Oh, I think it's nice. I think it should, more men should do it. In fact, I've noticed on the tube, there's lots more men wearing dandy-type hats.
Really? Like what?
Well, like I don't know what they're called. I wish I knew the name of hats, but just like imagine a dandy, a fellow who looks quite dandy. That sort of hat, smart,
right?
Quite formal.
The pork pie, is that a hat?
Yeah, well, it is a hat because you wear it on your head. Yeah, and it comes in the shape of a hat.
I think that's quite popular with some uso types recently.
Completely useless as a hat though, because it's got its brim is almost non-existent. What's the point of it? You might as well wear a fez.
I mean, what's the purpose of a hat in general? Is it
keep the heat in, keep the sun off, or the heat in,
and kind of top off an outfit.
Put the cap on it, literally. Yes. Yeah, but it's just something that men don't do anymore, and there's been various attempts to bring them back because there's no end of money to be made. If they can make as much money from men's hats as they do women's handbags, then they'll do a little jig over in Milan. But it just doesn't seem to be something that's caught on. How did we get on the hats?
I don't know. Johnny Depp.
Oh, right. Right, okay, 8:16. Travel now with Karen Mercer.
I'm looking at the M1. It's taken.
Absolutely. Yes, 0845 6060 973 if you would like to join in, or I could just do a monologue for 3 hours, which is seems to be the way it's going. If you ever wondered where your tax money goes, you seem to be paying and paying and paying, and I just got my tax bill for the end of January, and it's frightening, and nothing ever seems to get any better, and you're wondering how it can possibly be that you work half the year paying a tax. I think it's over half a year now, isn't it? The free from tax day comes somewhere in July now, doesn't it? So you're giving away almost half of your money in tax, and still it doesn't seem to be enough. Well, one of the reasons might be is because they might as well set fire to it and throw it out the window. Education officials spent more than... These are the education officials, the exam watchdogs. £1.6 million of your money on top hotels and conference centres in just 6 months. It's emerged the other day. The 5-star Park Lane and Le Méridien hotels were both among the venues used by the Qualifications and Curriculum Authority. The government's examination watchdog used the hotels to host meetings in the course of a recent review it was carrying out into the secondary school curriculum. Isn't this why these people have offices? I mean, what are they, working from the street? They have offices, right? Offices with tables and chairs, and right, so why not there then?
But sometimes they've got to meet other people, and there's got to be a middle place, hasn't there?
Please, what rubbish. You don't believe that, do you?
Well, no.
No. The full extent of the spending only emerged after a whistleblower within the organisation raised concerns. Well, my concern would be with your job. You probably won't have it very long. Whistleblowers don't tend to last. Matthew Elliott, the chief executive of the Taxpayers Alliance, said the QCA's focus should be on improving the qualifications and exams for children in this country, not living the high life at taxpayers' expense. If their offices are not large enough for a conference, and they need outside accommodation, they should pick cheaper locations rather than frittering away other people's hard-earned cash. It was disclosed in the 2006 and 07 financial year. They spent £2.65 million on meetings around the country, and between April and October, a further £1.62 million. That's £4.2 million on hiring hotel rooms to have meetings, in inverted commas, he says, waggling his fingers in the air. So that's one a place where all your money is going. The others are quangos. These are unelected, unaccountable organisations that seem to run everything. Anything that needs to be run doesn't get run by one person. They hire a lot of people who are out of work for whatever reason it might be, give them a giant salary and a part-time job, and basically tell them to go ahead and get on with it. The part-time chairman of a quango that promotes the south-east of England to business spent more than £50,000 on taxis last year. James Braithwaite, who chairs the South England Development Agency, whatever that is, on a 3-days-a-week contract, spent £51,489 on taxis and executive cars, more than his counterparts in the other 8 regional agencies combined. Even if he takes no holidays, that equates to £343 a day for cabs. How's that even possible? Taxpayers also subsidised cocktail parties on the French Riviera and paid to fly officials to a Bollywood awards ceremony in Dubai. In March, a few weeks before film stars descended on the French Riviera, 8 of the 9 development agencies decided it was essential to send a contingent to a property trade fair in Cannes. Do you ever wonder why all these all of these conferences take place in such lovely surroundings? What would be the point? I mean, if it's actually about business, you're only going to see the inside of a beige room.
But then the Conservative Party, the Tories and the Lib Dems, that they choose, is it Brighton, Bournemouth and Blackpool?
Yeah, that's because it would be politically unacceptable to go to Bali.
Well, it would, but I quite like that.
What, that they choose Bournemouth, Blackpool and Brighton?
Because exactly that, you know, if they choose something a little bit more upmarket, they'll get totally criticised.
Yeah, but that's the only reason that they're going there. I bet they absolutely hate it when they have to go and slum it in. Well, exactly. Brighton is one thing. Who goes to Brighton? That's the Conservatives, right? Labour goes to Blackpool, and I bet they hate every minute of it. Bournemouth, I don't even know what Bournemouth is like. Even more
old people.
Even more boring than Blackpool and Brighton, yeah.
But a bit warmer.
Yes, it was a few weeks before the film stars descended on the French Riviera. 8 of the 9 development agencies decided it was essential to send a contingent to a property trade fair in Cannes. CEDA took this South East England Development Agency, took 13 staff to a 4-day event based in the Palais de Festival on the French Riviera, spending 24 grand on dinner.
How many was that in the group?
13. The South West of England Regional Development Agency spent £61,000 at the same event, and the body promoting the West Midlands held an £8,000 cocktail party. Nice. Managing editor of Property Week magazine, who was there for the event, said it was basically a 4-day party with loads of lobster and champagne on yachts. Nice work if you can get it. Staff at the Yorkshire Forward, which is another one of these development agencies, had an even more glamorous assignment to mix with Hollywood actors, including Jean-Claude Van Damme, and Bollywood stars such as Shilpa Shetty, at the International Indian Film Academy Award in Dubai. It cost 20 grand to fly 15 staff, 10 of whom flew business class, of course. Other disclosures in the Freedom of Information documents. Can you believe, by the way, that we have a Freedom of Information Act that allows us to know this stuff? Because I'm sure that this is exactly the kind of thing that they would prefer to keep secret. And I'm sure that they make it as hard as possible for us to find out about this stuff. I'm amazed that anybody's even found out. They would bury this under as many files as they possibly could. I'm surprised they don't burn it.
Yep.
Staff at Centre Parks in Wiltshire cost the agency for the Southwest 61 grand. This is for a staff event at Centre Parks. £61,000.
Why are they going there?
I've no idea. Another meeting to discuss efficiency savings in the Riviera Centre in Torquay cost £28,000 to discuss efficiency. In much the same way as discussing saving the planet from carbon emissions is going to create 100,000 tonnes of carbon emissions. But that's why your tax doesn't seem to go very far, because it doesn't. You seem to pay and pay and pay, and I think the figure is they take something like £1 billion in tax every day. It's because when presented with the opportunity to fill your boots, people do. That's the unfortunate part of being run by human beings, because if we had the opportunity to do it, we would too. If you were given an unlimited expense account and told that there really isn't anybody to oversee it, and you can do whatever you like, you can call a conference in just spin the globe anywhere that you fancy, and you can fly there business class, and we'll pick up the hotel bill. In fact, you can stay in a suite. I mean, we'd do it too, right? That's the unfortunate part of being run by human beings. We disgust me.
We do.
It's blimey, 8:27. I've never gone so long without a single bloomin' call. This is incredible. 0845 6060 973. Are you wanting a topic? Okay. Should we... Oh, I can't do it. Don't make me. See, it's a bit easy as pie to get calls. No problem at all. I just have to say, shall we legalise marijuana? Shall we bring back the death penalty? And then the show will make itself. Or you can just call and we'll have a chat about this, that, and the other. 0845 6060 973. Is there a coronation on TV or what the hell's going on?
There's some footy on, but it's only Manchester United, so that shouldn't affect us.
Well, you wouldn't think so.
In London.
Maybe the phones aren't working.
Maybe we're not on air.
That would be a blessing in disguise. Oh, here they all come now. You start moaning and whining and complaining, and they answer in their droves. Okay, well, we'll take you all after the new news, coming up at 8:30. Now the lines are flashing like it's Christmas in here. Lit up like a Christmas tree they are. Lit up like Fergie's eyes in a cake shop.
How many lit-ups can you say?
I could do it from now until closing time, if you like. Okay, so we're going to pretend that the last half hour didn't happen, and then we'll get to whatever important issues are on your mind as we come back from the new news, most of which will be bad, I'm sure. It's 0845 6060 973. Or, like I said, I can dump all of these calls and just do a monologue for the next hour and a half, if my throat will last.
London's. The studio calls flashing up on the indicator.
And, we'll see if you are... Oh, I'll just get on with it. Jackie.
Hello, Nick.
Jackie.
Yeah, I'm really interested, because of the recent events with Ian Huntley, I just wonder why we're spending so much money on the NHS on giving people that have committed such terrible things antidepressants. I mean, the parents of those poor girls are, struggling probably to get any sort of help, and we're giving Ian Huntley antidepressants.
Right.
I mean, he should be depressed. They're in prison. Why are we, treating them, really?
Well, even more curious than that, prison bosses, this was in the paper just the other day, prison bosses have ordered warders to address inmates by their first names and knock politely on their door before entering their cells.
Ridiculous. They should have bread and water and that's it.
The move follows a government report aiming to improve the quality of life of convicted criminals. More than 1,400 inmates, including murderers, rapists and robbers, are housed at Birmingham's Winson Green prison. But a study by Her Majesty's Chief Inspectorate of Prisons concluded that they were not living in a good environment. Well...
But why should they?
It's prison. And recommended that staff should soften their approach. As well as the increased informality, officers who could possibly be searching for drugs and weapons will have to ask permission before entering cells.
That's ludicrous.
Management of the Category B jail have set up a team to ensure the report's recommendations are carried out. But local MP, Tory frontbencher Andrew Mitchell said, it sounds like the Department of Justice will have the prison officers dressed in a butler's uniform serving breakfast to inmates on a silver tray before long.
Oh, dear. Well, I just think, all this business about taxpayers' money, and there we are, we're sort of making their life better when they've committed such heinous crimes. So, it's ridiculous.
All right.
Never mind.
Thanks, Jackie.
Okay, thanks, bye.
A source at the prison said being forced to call prisoners by their first name is blurring the line between inmates and guards. It could have very damaging consequences. Some older prisoners actually prefer us to use their surnames because they know where they are with that. Those on the front line believe that the report's recommendations will make their job even harder. One Winston Green prison said, we're in a constant battle against drugs and mobile phones brought into prison. How do you bring a mobile phone into prison? I mean, I know drugs can come in small packets that you could swap when you're kissing someone or however, but a mobile phone is a fairly large thing. How do you hide that? To have to ask permission to enter a cell stops us doing our job, he says. Those extra few seconds delay could be crucial because prisoners know how to hide pretty much anything. Yet the governor is encouraging these new recommendations. He's judged by these reports, so he's set up a team to implement the findings. There's also a group of inspectors in place at the moment to ensure that we are following the guidelines. They'll ask inmates if they're being called by their first names or not, and then report back to the management. Prison service spokesman defended the measures and revealed the convicts now have their own decency agenda. We're raising awareness of this requirement across the prison service, including liaison through the Prison Officers Association. All new prison officers are now trained in the decency agenda, which includes this requirement. Yeah, doesn't make much sense to me. Notting Hill, Diana.
Hello.
Hey, Diana.
Hiya, how are you?
Good, thanks.
Oh, Joel, I heard your pleas about nobody phoning in, so I thought I'd phone in and say hello.
Hey. How are you?
I'm fine. There's no topic, so there's nothing really to say, but I'm just...
Well, yeah, I hesitate to throw out topics, because then that's all I'll talk about for 3 hours.
Yeah, I don't really like them anyway. I think it's nice when there's a flow of conversation anyway.
Yeah.
But, just one thing. Talking about credit today, I booked a lovely holiday today, and, well, somebody said that it's a shock when you get the bill. So, that won't happen, so...
Where are you going?
Yeah.
Are you out of breath?
Yeah, sorry, I was just running upstairs.
All right. So, where are you going?
It's going to be one of those Christmas holidays, the Santa and things, so that'll be quite different.
Where to?
Finland.
Finland?
I was wondering if anyone's actually ever been.
Isn't the world's only official Santa in Finland, and didn't he just sack his elves? And his elves are claiming compensation for unfair dismissal. I'm sure I read that in the paper today. So,
really?
yeah, there might be a strike on. Christmas has been cancelled by the time you get there.
Cancelled. That's a shame.
Are you sure you want to go to somewhere that cold?
Well, yeah, because I don't think it's going to be snowing in London, so that's why I wanted to go somewhere really cold and snowy.
Right. Are you taking kids with you?
Yeah, I'm taking one 11-year-old.
Because I almost... but not quite, booked a holiday over Christmas.
Okay.
I didn't do it, in honesty, because I couldn't get round the airline's website. I just couldn't book a flight. They wouldn't let me do it. And so I thought, oh, the hell with it, I'll just stay here. But I did investigate the prices of things, and they do seem to be double what you would pay on the week before and the week after.
Yeah, they're horrendously expensive. But, where did you want to go?
When do I want to go?
Where did you want to go?
Oh, where? Somewhere warm.
Oh, okay.
Not colder, warmer.
Oh,
You're out of your mind. It's going to be freezing here for the next 6 months.
Well, I don't mind, actually, because I'm not really a fan of the summer. For me, the 35 degrees is just not...
Really?
No, not at all.
Right, it can never get too hot for me.
No, yeah, you said you'd liked it before, but... Shame because we didn't have much summer this year, but
So is your son? He knows he's going, right? To see Santa.
Yeah.
So he must be excited beyond all measure.
Funnily enough, no. I was quite disappointed when I told him I thought he'd be jumping up and down for joy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. So.
Does he know yet?
Yeah, he knows.
He knows the bad. No, does he know the news about Santa?
Yeah, he knows everything. And
bad news about.
Well, he knows it doesn't exist, but I said, well, it's fun anyway. We're going to do things. It's a real activity holiday, lots of things to do. And, well, I don't know. I don't know if it's just me or if there's other parents out there who've told their children they're going to go on a holiday, and they were very underwhelmed, and I was not happy.
Yes.
Not happy.
Because presumably you chose this for him, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really want to go and... Well, I do want to go and do the snow thing, but not necessarily see Santa.
Yeah.
As I'm quite, way past that, but...
Well, there's more exciting places to go than Finland, I imagine. I mean, it'll be dark there all the time, I would think.
Well, we were considering going to Scotland, and I thought, well, why don't we go somewhere else, and, because that is in the UK, so... Anyway, I thought he'd be really happy, and he wasn't, so... Anyway.
Well, I would cancel the private education. If that's the sort of reaction you get from a holiday to go see Santa. Yeah, exactly. All right. Well, best of luck, Diana.
But I was just phoning to see if there's any other disappointed parents out there, or if anyone's been there or anything.
Well, yeah, you spend and you spend and you love, and they still end up hating you anyway.
Yeah, they do.
All right.
Anyway, thanks for talking.
Thanks, Diana.
Nice to hear you.
Ta-da.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's, because private education as well. I've pulled this thing around for the longest time. I may have thrown that away because it just became too old a news. The amount of stories that I do take around and then just have to get rid of because the time goes. Look, I've got about 30 here. Do you want me to read them all out to you?
Yep.
And you can pick the one you like. Polar bears. The look of love. No sex before marriage. TV nannies. Speed cameras. Post office closures. The flu pandemic. Dieting expense. Heathrow will be quieter. Chinese Olympic clapping. Contempt for the forces. RAF...
Stop. Can we have that one?
Which one?
The Chinese Olympic clapping, please.
Okay, well, note that down. I'll come back to that later. The RAF plane risk ignored in the one that crashed. Illegals working in security still. Your life details on Facebook. The billions wasted on public services. ID cards. Revenue sending secrets routinely through the post. Exam junkies. Our kids are purportedly exam junkies. French rock music. The tube announcer. More details about the tube announcer who got sacked for... What?
Yeah, I was just going to say, can we have the tube announcer as well?
All right.
Please.
Note that down.
Have you still got Shakira in that list?
No, I threw that one away.
Oh.
She's upset Afghanistan by wiggling too much. No, I threw that one away. You have to be quicker. Yeah. Bad parking tickets and a man in a giant testicle suit. Here is Wood Green. Margaret.
Hello.
Margaret.
Hello. It's Woodford Green, actually.
Woodford Green.
Yes.
It sounds a delight.
Oh.
No?
Well, there's so much building going on now.
Right.
They're grabbing every piece of land, knocking down nice houses.
Evil
when
developers.
They've got the flats on.
Yes.
Anyway, just a simple question. It's been in my mind for a long time. And as you're desperate for someone to speak to, I thought I'd phone you up.
Good for you.
Yeah, right. Coalition governments. Why can't we have one government and do away with all these other parties, all these tiers of management, and make it cheaper?
Right, you mean there'd be a group of people who would all just vote on whatever it is?
Right, yeah, we vote these people in, and they run the country, instead of all these different parties arguing and disagreeing and wasting our money, in fact.
Yes. Well, it's a good idea in theory, but in practice, you'd probably get to the point where no one would agree on anything. I think that it helps to have an element of dictatorship, which is almost what we've got here. We've got...
We're not getting anywhere, are we? we're arguing against each other all the time.
Yeah. But then a man, and it used to be Tony Blair, takes charge and just pushes through whatever he thinks. So in that respect, there is
So what about referendums on important items? So we had a coalition during the war, didn't we?
A referendum. Well, referenda are informed by whoever is telling most of the people how to vote, and that would be the press these days. So that would be Rupert Murdoch. So we'd eventually just get run by Rupert Murdoch.
Or that the councils could organise meetings so that we were informed as to what we're supposed to, or what we could vote on. So we had we had a coalition during the war, didn't we?
I wasn't around.
Well, there was one.
Okay.
Yeah. And be so much cheaper. And also, we've got the common market now, the EC, that they can also keep controls on how people, how voting is done, that it's fair.
Yes. I think that... well, famously, I don't think that a committee will actually get anything done, because nobody will agree on anything. So you have to have someone with a plan to push through their idea of where they see the future lies.
Yeah. So, I mean, we've all got our own ideas, but quite often we don't have an opportunity to voice them.
No.
So we wouldn't need all these different parties, all fighting against each other. And look how much cheaper it would be.
But it would be cheaper still just to have a dictator, a benign dictator, which I think is pretty much how we've got it now. I mean, if it's a democracy on the surface, but you actually just these days, particularly as as all the power is retained at the top, it's just it'll be one dictator after the next.
But to me, it seems, well, if you've got so many tiers of bureaucracy, you've got the council. So, I mean, we could have meetings for the public to go and listen, to put their views and listen to other people's ideas, and then vote on it.
Right, but unfortunately, no one would show up. I mean, if no one would show up to vote, let alone show up to attend a meeting, because, EastEnders is on TV, or I can't be bothered, it's raining,
Yes, but I mean, you've got these programmes now where you watch a programme, and then you phone in and say what your view is.
Yeah, OK, we could put it on TV.
Yeah.
And then put an 0845 number. Now I think you've got something, Margaret. All right, thanks a lot.
Thanks.
Cheers. 8:45. Travel now with Karen Mercer.
Abbot.
Well, let's get back to it.
Chelmsford, Flash.
Hiya, Nick.
Flash.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether you've been watching what's happening on the continent there in France, in Paris, and also what's been happening in East Germany lately.
East Germany. Remind me.
Well, East Germany is where their equivalent of our BNP party is taking over a lot of the councils.
Right. Well, I think they've had that problem in East Germany for a long time. They seem to...
Yeah. So, and I was just wondering, with what happened at the Oxford Union last night, whether we're heading for another sort of 1970s sort of showdown again.
I would very much doubt it.
Yeah, because obviously the Conservative Party can't really say a lot about immigration, and none of the other parties want to say a lot. And obviously sort of the South End and that sort of area down there to Tilbury and that is quite strong with those sort of people. And, yeah, I'm just getting a bit worried, for the safety of Mr. Ferrari,
I think he's going to be just fine.
Yeah, and I thought if they needed a mascot, unfortunately the BBC gave them the best one by announcing on one of their nature programmes that the poor old red squirrel was chased out by foreign competitors.
Yeah, I saw that the other night. It was the Alan Titchmarsh thing, right?
Yeah, that's right. And I thought, well, the Labour Party has got its rose, and the Liberals have got its dove. Perhaps the BNP will have the red squirrel, but...
Well, I hope not, because the red squirrel is such a lovely, fluffy, cute little thing.
Well, that's why I want people to say no, they can't have it, because I don't want them to have the lovely red squirrel, because they're not a lovely party. We can't have them having something really nice, can we?
No, not that you would want as a stuffed toy, no.
No. I mean, I wouldn't like to see a little red squirrel with sort of whatever they stick on them these days.
Are you making this up? Are they seriously saying that that's going to be their new party symbol?
No, it was just I sort of saw it, and the way the BBC said it, I thought, if any of these new neo-Nazis that are supposed to be very intelligent, very witty, educated, not the sort of oiks and irks that we used to think they were, saw that, they'll go, oh, that'll be a good symbol for us. And
Yeah, I don't think it represents the...
Offside.
I think a bulldog, perhaps, something of that order, but not a fluffy red squirrel, which was nice to see on the TV the other day. You're quite right. It was the Alan Titchmarsh thing, which was Nature of Britain, or whatever that thing is called.
But if you were going to pick a symbol for a political party, what would you pick if you were starting the Nick Abbott sort of run for mayor of the United Kingdom party?
Well, a bulldog might be a good place to start, because it's a fairly ugly-looking mutt, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's got very connotations of sort of skinhead and...
Well, it does, yeah, you're right. And it can't breathe very well, either, because it looks like its face has been smashed in with a spade.
Yeah, and I mean, would you want to pick a fox, but then you'd be probably thinking of Neil Fox, not yourself, Steve.
Well, maybe you're right. Maybe a cute, fluffy red squirrel is the thing.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know. I'd probably pick something like a fox for my symbol, but I don't know, probably a badger, because they're a bit vicious as well, and they can beat up the bulldogs. So
right, okay. Well, you're given a lot to think about. Thanks a lot, Flash.
Yeah, it's all done in jest.
All right, cheers, mate.
Possible taste, as Kenny would say.
Yeah, quite. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.
Yeah, have you been watching this thing with Alan Titchmarsh? What do we think of Alan Titchmarsh? I think he's deeply, deeply annoying man, but he doesn't seem to get in the way of that programme very much.
He's in it quite, because I remember you talking about it before, and I saw it at the weekend, and I thought, oh no, it's that, and I didn't realise how much he was in it.
Yeah, a lot.
He's in it a lot, but actually...
Not too much face time. Like, he says a lot of ridiculous things over the pictures, but the pictures are allowed to breathe and speak for themselves, and right enough, they're fantastic. They always are on these nature programmes.
Yeah.
It's what the BBC does best. Hell, it's the only thing the BBC does well these days. Everything else is just dumbed down to just the level of cheese.
But it's all right, isn't it? It's
not bad. On the other hand, there's another thing that's on at the moment about how the world was formed, and they had one on volcanoes, and this one is about the atmosphere, and it's almost completely reversed, because they have another annoying guy who's never off screen.
Right.
Like, he's advertising clothes for millets. He's just forever yomping and gesticulating, and he's always in the way of whatever it is we're trying to look at. But that's part of that sort of mantra in television these days, that you can't give people information and facts. You have to make it like some sort of reality fly on the wall thing, where make a character out of the main presenter, and everything has to be in cartoon form and just as dopey as can be. And this is on BBC Two, this thing.
Oh.
So it's BBC Two, supposedly the intelligent arm of BBC TV. But I think it's just the overflow for the tripe that's on BBC One now, and the real good stuff they put on BBC Four, where no one's watching.
Did you watch any of the Stephen Polyakov season?
No.
Oh.
I missed nothing, I heard.
Oh. Actually, some of his older stuff was better than the new stuff, but I quite liked it.
Really?
Quite enjoyed the bits that I saw, yeah.
Well, I get my indication of what is and is not good from A.A. Gill in the Sunday Times, and he buried it. He dug a large hole for it and buried the lot. So I thought, I'll delete it.
Oh, I think that's a shame. I think there's some good bits in it.
Right. But they lasted so very long, I thought, I can't waste an hour and a half, 2 hours of my life for good bits. Has to be great from start to finish.
Right.
Anyway, talking about the French. You know, if you go to France and listen to the radio over there, most of it is actual French music.
Right.
It's the law. But now they're embarrassing English as the language of rock, after decades of resisting British and American pop music, by imposing quotas and promoting local talent such as Johnny Hallyday. The music industry has claimed that they're now going English in France. A host of homegrown Anglophile bands are taking a few embarrassing stabs at Anglais, but with proper English lyrics written by and sung by the artists themselves. For years, French artists have shied away from singing in English due to a quota system which forces national radio to play only 40% of its songs in... which forces national radio to play 40% of its songs in French. Half from new artists. Blimey, no wonder no one's listening to the radio over there. As a result, French record labels prefer to take on francophone talent rather than compete with the Rolling Stones or Coldplay. However, times are changing. Maybe this is why people are upset. In France, pulling up paving stones they are. Julien Garnier, head of the head singer of a band called Hey Hey My My, told the newspaper Le Figaro that people are uninhibited about the idea. He said, quite simply, it's difficult to find a true pop language in French. It's great to sing Here Comes the Sun, but Voici le Soleil sounds pretty awful when it's sung. Yes. Reigate. Hello, Dan.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
All right.
You know you had that story about a guy offering you random violence because you had your interior light on in your car?
Yeah.
It happened to me a couple of mornings ago. Would you like to hear my story?
What, was it in Holland Park area?
No, it's just off the King's Road.
Oh, okay.
Well, I was driving home, and I decided to go a bit of a different way off of the King's Road. So I went down oh, by the way, I'm an ex-prison officer, so if you want to know how people bring in things to prisons, we can talk about that after.
Okay.
So I'm going down this one-way street, and there's a cab driver next to me, a black cab driver, night of the road, and he starts flashing me and gesticulating, so I kind of looked to...
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Fans, they're fans.
Right.
So he's gesticulating at me wildly, and I'm looking at all the dials like you do, thinking, right, yeah, lights are on, what have I done? My indicators aren't working. And then he winds down his window and starts shouting at me. And I thought, well, do I know this bloke? Why is he shouting at me? And then he starts getting even more frantic and bibbing his horn and pointing at me.
This is a cab driver?
Yeah, night of the road, you know, you don't expect that sort of behaviour from a black cab driver, do you? And I was thinking, look, I can't understand this. What is his problem? I mean, I don't know him, I don't owe him any money, the car's fine, well, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
So we came to a zebra crossing, and I thought, and he's still like, and he's now making, you know, that up and down gesture that people can make with their hands.
Mm-hmm.
He was making that gesture at me. I thought, well, I don't really want to get into it with him, because I'm on my way home. So eventually I wound down the window, and he goes, it's a two-way road, it's a two-way road. I thought it was a one-way road.
You were driving up the wrong lane.
Yeah.
Right. He was trying to save your life.
Yeah, I know, yeah. Yeah, well, I can see that now.
You're lucky to be alive, Dan.
I agree.
So how do they get drugs and mobile phones into prison?
There's two ways. One is called plugging, and I guess that doesn't really need any elaboration.
Oh.
Yeah.
But wouldn't they have to... How would they hand that... Oh, okay, so they... Plug
they come into the prison.
Before they actually arrive themselves, right, okay.
Yep. And the other thing is female visitors bring it into them on visits using other means.
But I thought that they were speaking behind glass, like on TV. They pick up a phone on one side and a phone on the other. Isn't that how it goes?
No, because we've embraced the Human Rights Act, prisoners in this country are allowed human contact, and it's considered inhumane to deny them that.
Is it?
Yep.
Right. Well, doesn't that make it hard to stop them bringing in contraband?
Yep, that's why it's easier to get drugs in prison than it is out.
And I know that that's I've heard that before, but is that actually true?
Well, I can't speak. I mean, I've been left about 8 or 9 years, but it wasn't hard to get drugs in prison when I was a prison officer.
Right.
Mm.
And why did you leave?
I joined the police.
Oh, okay. now you're out.
Well, yeah.
In the fresh air, right. Okay, thanks a lot, Dan.
Cheers, Nick, bye.
Please adhere to the highway code at all times. All right.
Right, so what we doing?
I wish they'd stop telling us about the man who sawed his own arm off. That's just so awful. Please enjoy your dinner, Helen. What are you having?
It's a chicken stir-fry.
Oh, sinew in blood.
Well, what you were talking about before the news wasn't too good either.
Oh, well, yeah. I didn't start it.
No, I know.
I don't think I'd have the strength to do that, though. I mean, I think I'd probably just end up dying. You have to cut your own arm off. So he sliced through all the flesh and the nerves, and then had to break the bone in order to free himself. Oh!
Isn't it?
And I'm holding my arm as I say it.
And they say there's just so much adrenaline pumping when you do something like that you won't feel the pain.
I'm sure you would. I'm sure it would be agony. You wouldn't feel yourself cutting your own arm off.
Maybe not.
Helen is looking really upset.
My legs have gone a bit funny. And there was that guy who cut his arm off. He was stuck under a boulder.
Yeah, I know.
With a blunt penknife.
Oh.
Must have taken ages.
Yes, that's right. It did take ages. But, and he was stuck in Monument Valley or somewhere in America where he was never going to be found, and so his arm was trapped underneath the thing, so he had to remove it and leave it there. Oh.
That would be my luck. That would be the arm with my mobile phone in it that got trapped under the boulder.
Yeah, it'd have a prized watch on the end. You just couldn't face leaving it there.
Yeah.
You're looking really upset, Helen.
Yeah, I feel a little bit sick.
Well, you are eating, yeah. Sorry about that. Streatham. Hello, Steve.
Hey, Nick.
Steve.
I'm a first-time caller. Be careful with me.
Good man.
I'm a little bit nervous.
That's all right.
Actually, I'm not very nervous at all, really. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Nick, what I want to know is, I listen to LBC loads and loads, and I find it the most stimulating radio program, a radio show that there is on the whole British Airways.
Oh, there's a giant butt coming.
No.
Oh, right.
Not in the slightest.
Okay.
Not in the slightest. I do find, though, Nick...
Oh, it sounds like a butt.
Where?
It sounds like a butt.
No, absolutely. I will refuse to say that B word. There, on occasion...
Yeah, on the other hand... yeah, but...
no, it's not that word.
Okay.
There tends to be times when you're struggling for a topic. Now,
well, I don't do topics. Okay, it's... a show like this can run itself. There's no problem about running a show like this. You just start by saying... all black people are criminals, or are they? Call me now. And the phones would light up, and I could just put my feet on the desk and spark up a cigar, and I wouldn't have to do raise a finger.
You like to be led by your audience.
No, I like to chat, conversation, as in real life. When you go to the pub and you talk to people, Steve, do you have a topic that you have between the hours of 9 and 10? And at 10 o'clock, then you decide to change the topic to something else? No, it's completely unnatural.
It just comes to you, and you chat, and you catch up, and
exactly, yeah.
But I never talked to you before, so we can't really catch up, can we?
Well, no.
So, therefore, it's just like me and you meeting for the first time. Now, if you were sitting in the pub at the bar on your own, and I came up to talk to you,
I'd be very upset.
How comfortable would you feel?
Well, this isn't. It depends on how friendly you are.
Okay, well, let's say I smiled and said something along the lines of, "Have you ever run an attraction at Brighton Pier?"
Have I ever run an attraction at Brighton Pier? Well, funny you asked that. No. Have you ever run an attraction at Brighton Pier?
Well, I met somebody in a pub the other day, absolutely cold, just sitting there and standing there, and just we were waiting for somebody to get served, and you know that sort of thing where you go on about it's me first or you first, whatever.
Yeah.
I said, well, you can't be far away from work. He said, actually, I'm miles away from work. I said, why? He said, well, I actually run the management for a number of piers around the whole of the UK coast.
That must be a job in serious decline, because piers are dying on their feet, aren't they?
Well, I said that to him, but he seemed very wealthy.
Oh, so he owns them?
Well, no, he didn't actually. No, he actually manages them, and he charges people to manage all these things. But what I wanted to talk to you about, or chat to you about, was how do you tease people into calling you? How did you learn that skill?
Well, usually I don't. Today's an odd day. It's almost as though there's a national football match on television, or the Queen is getting coronated, or it seems to be an odd one today. I am also not firing on all cylinders for some reason. Some days you are, and some days you aren't. Just ask the England football team. But normally the calls just rack up without me, without any intervention from me.
Well, I don't want to appear sad, just filling in because nobody else is calling. I'm sure your lights are lighting up.
Well, yeah. After I mentioned it, yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And but I'm interested in the fact that because I listen to a lot of the broadcasters on your radio station, how you actually get into it, Nick.
How you? As a job, you mean?
Where were you before LBC, for example?
Well, I've been here, there, and everywhere, baby. You name a radio station, and I've probably worked on it.
Really?
Yeah.
What, all your life?
Well, ever since I started at university, I've been on radio. Yeah.
You never had a job in a shop. You never drove a lorry.
Oh, I've done everything. Yeah, you name it. I've done it. But it was while I was waiting to get on the radio.
Right.
I've never seriously pursued any other career.
Oh, right. Okay. And I'm probably about the same age as you. Is this your biggest gig yet?
Well, define biggest.
Best paid?
No.
Really? So this is an altruistic type of gig?
Oh, yeah, I'm doing it for charity, yeah. Oddly, in radio, I think it's weird that the less you do, the more you get. In this country, in America, it's kind of the other way around. That the more you do, or the less you do, the less you get. In this country, the less you do, the more you get. Strangely.
Right. Okay. But you do this 4 or 5 nights a week?
Well, I'm on 7. Not here, but I work 7 days a week.
Oh, my goodness, do you not have a life outside radio?
No.
Yes. Okay, so you work every hour God sends.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I mean, I'm only on the air for 3 hours. I'm only on the air for 3 hours a day, or 4 hours at the other place.
Yeah, but I'm under the impression that radio presenters come in about 3 hours before the show and really sort of get down and do the old brainstorming thing, right, and then get together. And we're all under the impression that you come on air and you've warmed up and so you do. No, you can't possibly do 8 hours a day, not 7 days a week.
Well, playing music, there's nothing to it. You just show up and do it. But this, yeah, it does require going through the papers and writing stuff and, all of those other things. But I wouldn't say that it was 8 hours a day, exactly.
Yeah, because I've met Emma B. on your sister radio station, and she tells me that there's a real sort of restriction on what she can say and what she can play. And
well, that's show business, baby. I mean, if you were in the theatre in the West End, you wouldn't just walk on stage and make it up. Even if you were a one-man act, you've got to stick to some sort of plan.
But you don't stick to a plan, do you, Nick?
What, does it sound as though this is planned?
No.
No. Good man. All right, thanks a lot, Steve. Let's have Wallington. Hello, Joan.
Hello, Nick.
Joan.
I was reading a book.
No.
Yeah. I was looking for a suitable book for one of the grandchildren who reads with me about once a week, and perks up his reading.
Oh, yeah.
And I came across this book, which I probably got in a boot sale, which is called The Book of General Ignorance.
Right.
And it takes sort of statements about what you might think is the truth, and then queries it and says, actually, no.
Okay.
And so there's a little bit about Scotland, and it was talking about what things you think of as really Scottish, or invented by the Scots.
Right. Golf, for instance.
Well, no, it doesn't mention golf. It says haggis and bagpipes and porridge and whiskey and tartan and kilts.
Yeah, all very, very Scottish.
Very, very Scottish. And then it proceeds to say, no, actually. No. That came from Denmark. That came from thousands and thousands of years ago. That's happened when the Romans did so-and-so. And it breaks all that down and says, well, actually, none of those are really Scottish. But
porridge has got a picture, clearly has a picture of a Scotsman putting the shot on its cover.
That proves it.
Exactly.
Yeah, but evidently...
Whoa.
Evidently,
Sorry about that.
Oats were found in dogs' stomachs thousands of years ago. I didn't even know dogs were thousands of years ago.
Yeah, they must have been.
Yeah.
Oats were found in dogs' stomachs.
Yeah.
Right.
So that means they had porridge, you see. They did porridge.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it not just mean that they ate oats?
Well, I don't know whether they put them in a pot first or not. That's the question, isn't
Right.
it?
You mean rolled oats?
Yes, they probably rolled on them first. And
Make them more comfortable. Yeah.
So it tells you a bit of a list of things that they actually did invent.
Go on.
And I must say, well, here are just a few.
Well, hang on a minute. Let me go to the traffic, and then we'll come back with a list of the things that we can thank Scotland for.
All right, then.
All right, okay. As a way to reach hands across the border and live in loving oneness forever and a day.
Okay.
You're spreading happiness, Joan.
I think so, or something.
Or something like that,
Yes.
yeah, you're right. Okay, hang on there. 9:15. Travel now with Karen Mercer.
We've got some problems on the train.
Okie dokie.
So, Joan, we're talking about things that were invented by Scottish people, which some of which I take personal responsibility for, being half Scottish.
Which
yes.
bit is Scottish?
This bit.
Oh, good on radio.
Yes.
Your mother or your father?
On my dad's side.
On your dad's side?
Yeah.
Well, we're linked then, because I'm Northern Irish, and the Northern Irish and Scots are actually one race. And they started in Northern Ireland as well.
Is that true?
Yes, true, because right at the beginning, very far back in history, there was just this tiny little race of people right up in Northern Ireland. And then as time went on, some of them went over to Scotland and settled there. And that's why you get these similar names, similar accent, similar lifestyle, character, and everything else. We're one race.
I don't think they're similar in any way, are they?
Yeah.
Accents?
Yes, the Scottish and the Northern Irish. That's not the Southern Irish. The Northern Irish and Scottish are very similar.
Well, I would have thought that would be the other way around. I mean, Northern Irish people, no offence, speak awfully. Whereas the Southern Irish have a lovely lilt about them, and the same
Yes.
can be said for the people in the Highlands.
No, they're more like Northern Ireland. They haven't, no, the Scottish and the Northern Irish are very similar.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, they haven't got that pretty twang of the Southern Irish.
Yeah.
But the Scottish haven't. It's very much, I don't know.
Well, it depends where you come from. I mean, a Glaswegian accent can be quite hard and harsh, whereas Edinburgh, on the other hand, has all the corners shaved off.
Yeah.
But not quite as much as it's all been smoothed out as for when you go further north. Now, they do have a lovely lilt.
And well, the same with Northern Ireland. I mean, some bits are very, very basic, and some bits are quite reasonable.
Right, maybe that's because I don't know my way around the Northern Ireland
But you get this
accents very much.
Yeah, you get the surnames Mac this and Mac that, and it's the same in Northern Ireland and Scotland both,
Right.
etc.
But where does that leave the Welsh?
Oh, they're far away.
Because that's the other half of
Quite
me.
far away.
Right.
I don't think... No, again, they would have probably something coming from the Latin countries a little bit.
Latin?
That's where the Southern Irish got a lot of people coming and landing there. You see, so you get a different race altogether down the south of Ireland.
Right.
Different outlook, everything.
So from this book, you've got a list of things that we thought we knew, but we actually don't.
Yes.
Among which are things that you think that are genuinely Scottish, like porridge and kilts, but apparently aren't.
Tartan and all that. No, they say no. And then they say things are actually invented in Scotland. And just some of them. I mean, they're not startling, some of them, but some of them are a wee bit.
Okay.
Like adhesive stamps. Okay. I didn't know who
adhesive stamps?
Yeah. And
Isn't it great, just on that subject, by the way, that you don't have to lick the back of them anymore?
Yes.
Because I always used to find that was a bit... I mean, where have they been, for instance?
I didn't even think about it, though. I didn't think about it.
Yeah, I do trouble myself with thoughts on that.
Well, you were a vegetarian, so you had to worry, didn't you?
Vegetarian?
Yeah.
I think I could lick stamps.
Well,
Mind you never know what it's made of.
Don't
Yeah,
know.
you're right.
Could be animal bones.
Horses' hooves.
Yeah. Paraffin, that's the other thing.
I love the smell of paraffin in the morning.
It's a funny smell. You used to have a lot of heaters, didn't you, with paraffin?
Yeah, and it does actually smell quite nice. Smells like victory.
Victory?
Yeah. It's an Apocalypse Now thing. So, what else have they,
right.
What else have they invented?
Hypnosis?
They invented hypnosis.
Who knew that?
Well, that's a nonsense thing to say.
You could probably argue with that, couldn't you?
How can anyone say that they invented hypnosis?
Well...
Who did that?
This book says so.
Oh, well, you should have said the book says so.
And
what was the name of the person who invented hypnosis?
They didn't say.
Oh, right.
Didn't say.
Television.
Electromagnetism.
Right.
Hypodermic needle.
Huh.
Kaleidoscopes. Oh, I love kaleidoscopes.
They still make those?
Well, they do, but they're not as good as they used to be.
Well, what is?
You get them at Christmas, don't you? Well, no, not you. I mean, people get them for children.
Yeah, one does, yeah.
And
I bet they throw those to the ground. They're deeply upset. It doesn't do anything. Where do you put the batteries?
No, they're... You know what a kaleidoscope is?
Yeah, you put it to your eye and you twist it.
Yeah, well, that's sheer magic, isn't it?
Well, not for kids these days. I mean, it was magic in the 1930s, perhaps, but
well, you have to reteach the children about magic these days.
Right. No, I think that they know a lot more about that than we do. They want things that, role-playing games where people get their heads sliced off.
Well, what you have to do is have none of that stuff in your house when you ask them round. And then they're actually forced to do something else.
Right, or just not ask them around.
Yeah. No, and they do, and then they discover it's quite nice doing other things.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they get your attention if they're doing other things.
Right.
You will play with them, you will read with them, you will do something with them, and that's what they really, really want.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'd have thought that what they really want is because everything that they consume these days is based on them not having an attention span of more than about 10 seconds.
Yes, that's true. That is true. They, if they've got that stuff around them, that's how they are. And actually, to get rid of that feeling, you have to spend probably at least an hour with a child to get rid of that feeling of, what's next? Jump,
right.
jump. Don't settle, don't sit, And then they simmer down a little bit.
It makes you wonder how they could ever pick up a book. I mean, I know that J.K. Rowling has made a ton of money from just that. But, watching pop videos and computer games and all the rest of it, there's a lot of flashing images that don't require any attention span at all.
No, and it's all very, very highly strung stuff, isn't it? But that's why I find looking for the right books or the right articles in the newspapers and things, just to give a real interest, to have something interesting to reading, and that makes all the difference.
Right.
Otherwise, I don't think children want to read.
Well, neither do I.
No, I suppose it depends. I mean, if you started a biography or something you're really interested in, you'd probably read it, wouldn't you? Well,
I read so much as it is. I mean, I read all the papers and I read news on the World Wide Wait. I think if I strain my eyeballs anymore, then, they might fall out of my head.
Well, don't do that, for goodness sake.
It's the constant moving back and forth that wear them out.
Yeah, you can't do that.
So
and then there was a cure for malaria.
Oh, right.
And then there was a paddle steamer.
They invented the paddle steamer.
Yes, now why? I mean, they haven't got the Mississippi up there, have they?
No, MISSISSIPPI.
Yes, they haven't got one. And so you wonder why they invented the paddle steamer. Maybe they would go round the edges of the coast with it.
I suppose so.
It doesn't sort of sit
right. It doesn't sit, no, you're right, no.
What else was there?
The TV.
Didn't say anything about the TV. Oh, Universal Standard Time, for heaven's sake.
What, Greenwich Mean Time?
No. Standard Time is what it is in that place, isn't it? And then Greenwich Mean Time is the other thing.
Oh, the other thing.
Isn't Standard Time what it is in that particular place?
I really don't have any idea, Joan. I went around that museum once and retained nothing.
I should really know that, because every time I do a chart, astrological chart, I have to deal with Standard Time and Greenwich Mean Time, and I've forgotten. Oh dear, oh
When you
dear.
do an astrological chart?
Yes.
What has the time to do with that?
Everything. The time and the place. You have to get the correct setup on the chart, you have to know the birthday, the birth time, and birthplace.
But do you actually believe that you can predict future events just on the basis of when someone was born?
Yeah, it's not so much the predicting of future events. It's a bit like, if you're talking about the future, it's a bit like giving a weather forecast. You say it's going to be rough in October with something or other, or there are a lot of pressures on this, there's a big challenge from that, or it's hunky-dory and you're going to get some money, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd like the latter.
But
Just-
a lot of it is about the character and what you actually are as a person, deep down, on the surface, all those other bits.
Well, that sounds more like therapy than
No, you're not.
astrological predictions.
No, you just, it's about yourself.
Or more accurately, a reflection of what they are.
Yeah.
It's like the man comes from a village and he asks a chap coming in the opposite direction what the people are like in the village that he's heading to. And the man coming in the opposite direction says, well, what are the people like in the village you just come from?
Yeah.
And he says, oh, they were horrible. He says, well, they'll probably be horrible in the next place too, because it just depends on what kind of person you are, right?
Yeah. Well, that's very much it, really. Once you get to know what you really, really are, then you can understand what has been happening in the past and how maybe you could be a bit different using those same energies in the future.
But do you see what I mean? But that sounds a lot like therapy.
That's not therapy. Therapy is where you try and cure somebody, isn't it?
Well, not necessarily. It's where you, well, I suppose, yeah, in a sense, but you sit there and you talk through whatever it is that ails you and try to come to some sort of resolution, but it's...
No, it's not really like that. It's just... And you can... I mean, you can tell about a person's past, and you can, as I say, give an idea of what's coming up, and so get ready, get the Mac on or the umbrella up and things like that.
Well, they do that on the TV weather predictions, and I find that really annoying.
Yeah. Oh, yes, isn't it? Oh, yes.
It's going to be raining, so go get your coat.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
But I might actually go out without it now that you've told me.
So, can you tell me that I'm going to come into a lot of money and everything is going to be hunky-dory, like you said?
Well, I mean, it depends on the person's chart. I mean, I remember once I did a chart fairly regularly, and when I first started doing this chart, the person was doing accountancy.
We've only got 10 seconds, Joan. Can you just tell me that everything's going to be hunky-dory now?
I think it will. I think it will.
Go. Thank you, Joan.
Okay, bye.
Ta-ra.
Bye-bye.
LBC.
Come on. Chinese clapping for the Olympics. They clapped, they waved, they chanted in happy unison, and the Olympics doesn't even start for 8 months, it said in the, I think this is the Telegraph on, over the weekend. The 200 dairy workers gathered with their stick-shaped drumming balloons were among the first Beijing citizens to undergo Olympic cheering practice. The latest initiative by the city government to ensure its citizens prove themselves deserving of the Games next year. Well, they've raised much of the inner Beijing, haven't they? They've just torn it to the ground and thrown everybody out so they can build these unbelievable stadia. The one that looks like a bird's nest is particularly fantastic, and it's because of the unique way in which they're funded. And in the way that they can just do anything they like and nobody can raise a peep in protest. The government is said to have been concerned by the spectacle of the 2004 Asian Football Cup final in the Chinese capital when an unruly mob, angered by the nation's defeat to Japan, surrounded the opposition bus, pelted it with stones and bottles, and then fought running battles with police. Blimey, I didn't think anybody had the nerve to do that sort of thing in China. I think they'd crushed all opposition. For the Olympics next summer, the mayor, Wang Qishan, has ordered that nothing be left to chance. On top of campaigns to teach citizens how to queue and to stop them from spitting, the authorities want supporters to be enthusiastic enough to urge on Chinese athletes to gold medal success, but in a disciplined and orderly way. Organised by the citywide official trade union, cheering instructors are touring factories, community centres and even old people's homes to teach tens of thousands of people civilised sportsmanship. There will be core cells of supporters who, after practising at home, will fill stadiums with the polite noise of rhythmic clapping and drumming, and a pre-approved roster of 20 chants. The union hopes that up to 1 million people will be aware of the proper methods of supporting Chinese hopefuls come August. The Olympics is next August. That's frightening, isn't it? Don't you think it's come around so very quickly? And what's the difference in time between here and China? I think by the time the pictures get to us, the individuals who are running the long distance races are going to will have dropped down dead because of the pollution that they've taken in. But it would be nice to see some of it. But China is... It must be the middle of the night, right? So everything is going to be unwatchable by people, by everybody who isn't in China. And everyone that's in China hasn't got a television, so they won't be watching it anyway. Burton-on-Trent.
Hi, Nick. How you doing?
Aid, how are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, yeah. I don't know if you've read about this. You know, sometimes you read things on the internet, you can't really believe them or not. I was reading about police in America, and now got even now, or soon getting the technology to microwave jam clean cars.
You microwave what?
Microwave jam them. I don't mean like a microwave oven. It's like sends microwaves out and disables the car that they're chasing.
Right. Okay. Like a stinger device where they put things that will burst your tyres across the road, but without the actual bursting the tyres part.
The damaged part. Yeah.
Huh.
And that's weird. It's like stuff of like TV and film, isn't it? Coming to life now.
Yes.
You know. But I wonder how long it'll before the police get it here.
A microwave device that will stop your car working just by pointing it at it.
It'd be good if you could get it in your own car, wouldn't it? Just like to fool your friends with.
Well, I want the device that stops people's mobile phones working.
Yeah, 'cause I'm sure some top stores jam them anyway. Technology is available to them, isn't it, through certain areas?
Well, I wouldn't think so, because you'd think that, I mean, the amount of microwaves that are passing through us all the time, I'm sure that the Wi-Fi people are going to be apologising in 20 years' time for killing us all, in much the same way as everything in modern life is killing us, really. Underarm deodorant, that's probably killing us. Your mobile phone, that's almost certainly going to render you dead. What else? The Wi-Fi from the computers, and soon Wi-Fi will be, there'll be a thick blanket of it wherever you go, because everybody wants to be connected all the time. So yeah, modern life is dangerous to your health.
With mobile phones, occasionally hear about people's batteries explode. I mean, there's obviously like the radiation and that. I mean,
I've never heard that out of a mobile phone. I've heard it from laptops. There was famously laptops were bursting into flames while the people were using them over the course of the summer. But I've never heard of a mobile phone exploding.
But if it did, keep in mind, you wouldn't want it. You know.
You always have it on vibrate. Don't tell me.
It'd be quite painful.
Yes.
And another thing, the news. I'm surprised I hadn't mentioned. This is like a news story that's not been mentioned a lot. The American writers' strike.
Yeah, you're right.
About it.
No.
I mean, you read about. I've heard about it on certain websites. You know, they're all everything that's sort of out on strike. Like series are being postponed or cancelled.
Well, it's funny that it hasn't really got any coverage over here, because most of the entertainment that we consume, particularly at the cinema, is American.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time you went to see a British film?
Well, never.
Well, yeah.
Apart from Bond.
Well, yeah. Is that actually British anymore? I mean, I know the main character is a British actor, but can that generally be said to be a British film?
No.
I bet all the money is American, and I bet the writers are.
Yeah.
Or is that true? I think the writers were English, weren't they? Maybe that's not true. But they probably are members of that very same organisation, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's got the potential to sort of bring the whole thing to its knees, hasn't it?
Well, all the TV programs that we enjoy, all of the good ones, you know, the dramas from America like Prison Break and 24. Presumably there'll be a new 24 coming out, and all of the good stuff. It will be stopped shortly.
Yeah, well, I've heard that 24 has been stopped.
Has it?
About 8 episodes.
No. I was looking forward to that.
I mean, the other ones that can shorten the series and get around it, but the whole point of... I've never seen the series, but the whole point of it is it's 24, so it's like through a day in a series.
Yeah.
So
8 hours isn't going to suffice. No.
So, yeah,
But I think they have a justifiable grievance, don't they? That I think writers in Hollywood are the lowest of the low, which is sort of bizarre, because without writers you haven't got anything at all.
What is it over? Is it over pay?
Well, I think it's something to do with and you're right. The actual details are quite sketchy in my mind, because it's received so little publicity over here. But I think it's something about they want money for DVD sales. You know, everybody else gets extra royalties when DVDs are sold, the actors and the directors and so on, but the writers get nothing, which doesn't seem fair, really, because they're the ones that came up with everything.
Yeah, because I've had DVDs. You would have to pay to the just as music in DVDs. You know, if it's a series or film, whatever, they have to pay the royalties to
the musicians. Yes.
But I've even known it in DVDs for the music to actually be taken out to replace with like incidental sort of thing.
Right. Well, it wouldn't surprise me at all. No. But yeah, well, I hope that they sort it out, because I've been looking forward to all these excellent shows that are going to be starting when the Christmas mess is over. But we'll be just faced with a sea of repeats.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say that the only chance is looking on the internet, because nobody cares. all he cares about is the jungle.
Yeah, well, the I'm a Celebrity thing. And I'm not sure that people even care about that now, because the Sun, I'm sure they started doing an I'm a Celebrity pull-out, but they switched it after the first episode after the second episode lost 2 million viewers. They switched it to the reality pull-out, the reality TV pull-out, without mentioning the one show in particular.
No.
That's just the pull-out that I pull out, throw straight away.
I think America's already sort of, I mean, they're even in more trouble, because we've got all this sort of crap to lie back on, haven't we? But America sort of dismissed all this reality rubbish already, because they don't show the Big Brother mess, do they?
No, that's right. America hasn't joined the Big Brother bandwagon. They haven't. They've had a few other more glamorous programs of its type, like Survivor, where everyone goes on an island and wanders around in their underwear.
Oh, well, that's popular.
Yeah. But no, you're right. I think America's about the only country in the world that has access to Western-style television that hasn't joined the Big Brother thing. Huh.
Yeah, it's really weird, isn't it? Because you think anywhere in the world...
You think they will catch on there first, yeah.
Yeah, let's hope we follow suit soon, then.
Well, exactly. The sooner the better. We have the power. If you stop watching that stuff, they will stop making it.
I've never watched it.
Good for you. I'm trying to wean myself off it as we speak.
Yeah, I know somebody made you watch it last year, but...
Yeah. Well, I won't get caught like that again.
You won't be caught again.
No. Thanks, Aid.
Okay, speak to you soon.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Yeah. Are we watching that? You watching that celebrity mess?
No.
Good. Alex?
No.
It's no all round. You two don't watch TV at all, though, right?
I do a bit.
Only Stephen Polyakov. Which apparently I'm wasting my life away.
Yeah, apparently. Yep. That's what I read. Yeah.
Yeah.
Coast
is very good. And I'm sure that it will... When I was watching it first time, I thought, this will turn around the fortunes of our coastal towns, which, because nobody goes on holiday to British coastal towns anymore, grew up during Victorian times when it was all very new, and using the train to get to the coast and so on, from working 8 hours, 8, 12, 15, 36 hours a day down pit, was just the very thing. But now, of course, everybody wants to hop on a plane and go to Spain because the weather's going to be better. And last summer won't have changed anybody's mind. And so coastal towns, with a few exceptions, are run-down, paint-peeling, sad, dismal places. And so I thought that this is really going to turn the fortunes of the coastal towns around, because what could possibly be nicer than opening the curtains in the morning and seeing the sea? Breath of fresh air, or the ozone, or whatever it is that you get down there. You'd have thought that people have been clamouring, crawling over each other to get prime property on our coast, but they can't give it away, right? But apparently not. Not yet, anyway.
Oh, that's a shame.
It's still in decline, as the man with the piers would have told us if I'd...
See, I think you're wrong. I think you're wrong about the piers. I think end-of-pier shows are on the up.
Are they?
Which means that piers, in general, are going to be saved, and people are enjoying walking to the end of the pier.
Well, you have to walk past the bulk of the pier to get to the end of it. You're right.
So I think you're wrong.
Good grief, that'd be the only thing I've ever been wrong about on this show.
I know. How's that feel?
It feels strange. I don't know how to react. Who has an end of pier show? What rubbish! I've never heard the like.
No, it's true. Oh, I think it was it Cannon and Ball recently?
Well, I knew you were going to say that. Cannon and Ball?
No,
are they still alive?
They're all coming back. They're all I think, who's that fella from Liverpool? The Diddy Men.
Ken Dodd.
Ken Dodd, he has an end of pier show.
Well, Ken Dodd has never gone away. He tours 365 days a year.
I didn't know he was still alive.
5 hours a night he does.
Yeah.
I just cannot imagine. I can't imagine remembering that amount of material, let alone delivering it on a nightly basis.
How do you see that? Do you do it in shift patterns? I mean, how you couldn't sit for 5 hours, could you?
Well, I did try to sit through one of his shows once, and I know that's an awful way of putting it, but I didn't manage it.
No.
Who goes to see Cannon and Ball?
Well, yeah.
People who live on the coast.
People who used to enjoy them in their television heyday. Like, their entire audience will be 70 years old.
Like Little and Large. Kind of in that same unfunny group, aren't they?
Little and Large. Yeah, I think I prefer Cannon and Ball. Although it's a close run thing.
It's a close call, that one.
Can I just...
Not much in it, is there?
Yeah, can I just opt to stay in that night? It's 9:45. Travel with Karen Mercer.
Looking at problems on the trains.
Affirmative.
Finchley, hello Tony.
Oh, hi Nick, how are you? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, loud and clear.
I think you remember who I was, don't you? I came on to you last week talking about a lion tamer. Do you remember that?
Ah, yes, Alex Harvey was a lion tamer.
I'm not going to say those words because you're going to play a bit of music if I do.
Who, me? No.
I could say Boston Tea Party.
No, don't do it.
A couple of reasons I phoned. God, my brain's going these days. I'm struggling, but...
Yeah, I feel your pain.
But a couple of things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the lady from Scotland, quite a nice lady. I think she's some sort of clairvoyant, wasn't she? Or something?
Joan, yeah.
And she was saying about Scotland invented hypnosis.
Was it Yes, something like that, yeah.
Well, I always seem to remember that Dr. Anton Mesmer invented hypnosis.
As in mesmerised.
Exactly, yeah. I could be wrong, but I always assume that. And
I would find it hard to believe that anybody could put up their hand and say, with any sort of justification, that they invented something as...
Yeah, well, it probably goes back to the Romans. The Romans probably did it.
Well, probably people... yeah, I mean... People would, from when we were started to walk upright, I'm sure we were mesmerised by our own feet. We'd never seen them before.
Yeah, apparently we do go into hypnosis during the day without realising it. I think one of the examples is that if you go on a long distance drive, at some time during the journey you switch off, even for a second or two, and you're actually in a state of hypnosis.
Yes, that happens a lot, and I know exactly how that feels.
The last 5 miles.
Yes, precisely. I mean, you're monitoring what you're doing, but you're just doing it completely automatically.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because have you actually ever been hypnotised yourself?
No, I haven't.
Does it worry you to be hypnotised?
I think I'd rather like someone in there with me while it's being done, just in case they make me take my clothes off and walk around like a chicken.
Well, apparently, I haven't. I've tried to be hypnotised, but I can't be apparently. But
oh, go on, Tony, force yourself.
No, it's so difficult because some people are very easy hypnotic subjects, and others are not.
Yeah.
But you won't do anything you don't want to do under hypnosis. They can't make you take your clothes off.
But that's not true. I mean, the amount of things that you've seen on TV of these evil hypnotists who make people, bounce up and down like a dog.
I think they're people that naturally show off, and they sort of prime them before the start to find out who are really good subjects.
Right.
And I think they're exceptional subjects, the ones they've got.
Huh.
And it actually makes you doubt whether it's actually on the level, but I'm assuming it is.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? There's always that doubt about it, isn't there?
I would be concerned that someone would interfere with my clothing.
I don't think it's them. The other thing I wanted to talk to you about was coincidences. It's Engel wrote a book about coincidences. It's such a huge subject. You probably read about it yourself.
Well, I haven't read that particular one, but go on.
And have you had coincidences happen to you in your life? Really strange coincidences.
Well, yeah, no end of coincidences. I mean, for instance, you'll read a word that you'd never read before, and then the next hour someone will use it in conversation to you. I mean, things like that happen all the time, but it is just coincidence.
That's right. It's called random coincidences.
Yeah.
They're going to happen in life. The prime example, I think, is when you're thinking about someone, and then 5 seconds later they phone you.
Yes.
Does that happen to you?
None that I can remember specifically like that, no.
The coincidence I was actually going to talk to you about was when I rang you last week, and I was actually a bit nervous, and I was rattling on like a lunatic.
But on that subject, though, I mean, that's something you hear, that I've heard before, you know, you think about somebody and then they call you.
Yeah.
Well, you only remember that part because on the other times that you think about somebody and they don't call you, you don't give it a second's thought. You just carry on with your day.
But I think there are things that happen to us as individuals where we are actually evolving as a species, aren't we? And I think eventually, if you look down the road about 50,000 years, or 100,000 years if we're still around, and I think we will be communicating other ways other than speech.
Yeah, well, I do that now. I'm communicating with Helen. There you go. Count those fingers. No speech required.
Right. But no, I'm serious about that. That could happen. Who knows what's going to happen in the future? We are evolving, aren't we, as a species?
As a species, yes. Individually, not so much.
Individually, not so sure. But what happened to me, I was talking to you about tattoos.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? No.
Oh, well, is it important whether I remember it or not?
Yeah, it is, because something really strange happened.
Go on.
I was saying how much I dislike tattoos.
Yeah.
I'm of that generation that missed the tattoos.
Right.
And the night I spoke to you about tattoos, my son came in. I've got an 18-year-old son. And I never saw him. And the next day, he phoned me at work and said, Dad, I've got something I want to tell you about really bad. And I said, you've smashed the car. I said, you've written the car off. He said, no, I've got a tattoo.
Huh.
And this is the truth. And he came home, and he had a tattoo the length of his arm.
Oh, no.
On my life. And you know what he told me? And I was saying this to your lady on the reception.
David Beckham told me to do it.
No. He said to me that it's okay, Dad, because it's only a 3-year tattoo. And I've swallowed that, but I don't know if
What?
Yeah, apparently it lasts for 3 years, and then it fades.
Can that be true?
I don't know. I mean, I really don't know. But it's actually raised, and it's horrible.
Raised?
Yeah, it's like raised off his arm. You know, it's not flat, it's raised off his arm.
Wow.
And it's the length of his forearm. It's not just the tiny
What
one.
is it? His name in Hebrew or something?
Yeah, it's got a name on it. It's just so embarrassing. Look, you know, when you're 18, you do things, you regret them when you're 25, don't you?
I think I would regret it the very next second.
I wonder if he is.
Whose name is it?
He's actually got the name of his nan on his tattoo, which is even worse.
His nan?
I know.
As in Nana?
Yeah.
What?
Nanny. I know, it's crazy. I'm embarrassed to say it. But I've left it because obviously it's happened. I'm not going to berate him over it, but I'm just horrified that he got a tattoo. It's just basically, as I was saying to you before, fashion changes so quickly, doesn't it? And in 10 years' time, they'll be laughing at people, or 20 years' time, they've got tattoos now. I mean, they'll be trying to rub them off and get rid of them. I don't know how easy they are to get rid of, but they must be horrific to get rid of.
Yeah, I would think so. You'd have to take off all of your skin.
Exactly. But he told me it lasted for 3 years, and I've actually believed it. And now I'm beginning to think, no, I don't think that's true.
Well, I wasn't aware that tattoos could be raised. Maybe it's just the reaction of the skin when you first get it done.
Yeah, it is. But the other thing about these tattoo parlours, they charge a fortune for tattoos. This thing on his arm costs 40 quid, but apparently, if you have a tattoo on the back, it's about 400 quid.
What, to cover the whole back?
I don't know about the whole back, but, you know, he told me it's 400 quid to have a tattoo on his back. I mean, they're charging an absolute fortune.
Well, maybe that's a good thing. Fewer people will be tempted to buy one.
Only poor people, only rich people have them, I know.
Yes, right.
Just thought I'd impart that to you.
Okay, well...
what I want to say, Nick, is next.
Next?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
You don't get that.
Oh, right, it's another Alex Harvey thing. Thanks, Tony.
Take care.
This is LBC.
We're running late!
Here's calling Woking. Hello, Graham.
Hi.
Graham.
Hello.
How are you?
All right, fine, yeah. I just want to mention, you were just speaking earlier and you said, everybody that goes and sees Cannonball is 70 years old.
Yeah.
Well, I'm only 41.
Right.
And about a month ago, I saw Cannonball in Camberley in Surrey. And I have to say, anybody out there listening, they were fantastic. They wrapped 30 years of entertainment experience into I think it was about 90 minutes, 2 halves. Fantastic.
And was it all stand-up gags, or...
Well, I'll tell you what the beginning was.
Script-like?
It was they've been going for so long, they probably took out scripts from their shows going back to the 80s.
Yeah, I didn't mean script. I meant to say sketches. Is it sketches, or is it just gags?
Routines.
Right.
The first half was routines, Rock on Tommy and Slap the Braces and, when they put you down, the sort of slapstick man and the straight man. And then the second half was lots of Q&A. They've been going for 30 years. They started off as well. I mean, they were fantastic. I recommend them.
Huh.
You don't need to be 60, 70. Go when you're 22.
Right.
Brilliant.
And they're probably still on the road right now.
Still going, yeah. I mean, obviously, the thing I noticed, Tommy Cannon is about, he said he was 70, 71.
Which one's that?
It's the tall one with the grey hair.
Right.
He looks about 52. I tell you, life in show business, honestly, it must have been a great life, because he hasn't aged a bit.
Right.
And he was talking about, all the Royal Variety shows, all the do's. It was fantastic. Go and see them.
Okay. All right. Thanks a lot, Graham. That's a positive notice if ever I heard one. And you're not convinced, Helen?
I won't be doing that.
Oh, go on.
It's not funny.
That man just was falling over himself to say how funny they were.
What, Rock on Tommy?
Through the braces. Really, it's hilarious.
Oh, that's just you and your soft southern ways. Why can't you just open your minds and, to be more northern?
Well, Rock on Tommy was never funny to begin with.
Well, it depends how you say it, and in what circumstance you say it. I mean, you saying Rock on Tommy isn't funny, I'll grant you that.
Well, them saying Rock on Tommy was never funny.
Well, in the way that he says it. Rock on, Tommy. See?
No.
Already you're laughing.
No, you said that because that was funny, the way you said it.
Yeah, well, that's the way he says it.
Oh.
You're laughing already, and you haven't paid a penny yet. Go on, buy yourself a ticket.
No.
You know you want to. So miserable. You just don't like laughing.
I'm happy when I'm miserable.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I'm happiest when I'm really deeply upset.
Or really ill.
What's that? Oh, I'm cutting myself off. The cough button, which cuts off the microphone, is right where you pull yourself up to the bumper, baby. I do it at least once a show. Who would design a thing like that, though, by the way? Really? I mean, come on. Oh, look at the time. You want to hear about the man in the testicle suit, right? Meet the bloke who's bagged the worst job in Britain, it says in the Super Soaraway Star today. He gets the sack every day. Mr. Testicles has been designed to promote the male cancer awareness campaign. The man became Mr. Testicles when he found the charity after suffering a cancer scare himself. He said, "I couldn't get anyone else to do it." His latest gig was on Saturday at Goodison Park, where 40,000 Everton fans were amazed by the sight of the new ball boy as the team hammered Sunderland 7-1. He says, "You'd be amazed at the interest from women. I get their numbers all the time." He is a man in a giant testicle suit. His name? Mr. P. Cox. I am not making that up.
On 97.3